Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. Grand Line. From a Dragon Egg to Strongest Evolution. Chapter 81. Legendary Creature. Guillemot. Race. Island Giant Tortoise. Description. According to legend, Vishnu was transformed into a tortoise and lived on Mount Mandala. As one of the rare and exotic beasts of the Grand Line, the tortoise Lord Guillemot often haunts the New World waters. He does not interfere with the elephant master. The sea water he breathes will form a thick fog to protect the island creatures on his back. Lilia is a member of the Dongtata tribe, commonly known as the villain. When Xian explained that she was killed, it took a while for her to react. She naively and kindly believed Xian's words and planned to take him to where she lives here. Soon after, Xian and her, who were all ready, began to go to the vicinity of Mandala Mountain on the back of the giant tortoise. The high mountain is not a peak, but is composed of countless uneven mountains. The uneven mountains are covered with ancient trees and vines-like plants, and there are many unknown information about spiral patterns. Some buildings resemble ancient temples, 30 meters tall, flat ground, no unevenness, and there are many dinosaur statues around. This is really spectacular. It shouldn't be. The belly of the giant tortoise. The feeling for Xian here is like the entrance to the body of this huge turtle. In fact, even if it enters the abdomen of the giant tortoise, it will feel very wide. Maybe it has been integrated with the stone, not a traditional biological structure. Master Xian, you are a good person. Lilia said this inexplicably. She looked at her hands and was full of sadness. This island has so many weird spiral-shaped fruits. After eating it, it will become very strange. The Dongtata people are very sad. Fear of me, we have not seen the outside world for a long time. Quote exclamation mark question mark quote. Xian pricked his ears when he heard it. So many strange spiral fruits. Are there many devil fruits here? What a great place. Originally, Xian thought that this giant tortoise island was a small human base like the Lord Zuowu country, but he did not expect it to be what he imagined. This is an abandoned and ancient place. A group of people lived in the past hundreds of years, but they all seem to have moved out. As for devil fruit, it can only be said that no one cares about it all year round. Many devil fruits that have been washed up or reborn on this island have never been discovered. Lilia, good girl, can you take me to find those weird fruits? I might be able to help you deal with them. Really, Lilia, who is ignorant of the world, didn't know how to write the word lie. After being caught by Xian, she had already accepted her fate, but Xian didn't hurt her, which gave her the illusion of, this is a good person. Real. Seeing Xian's smile, Lilia nodded vigorously. Rustle. As the jungle creaked, Xian also started to follow Lilia's direction. He came to a cave where there was no light at all, where everything was shrouded in darkness. In this underground cave where you can't even hear the crawling of small insects, you can see a lot of uneven landforms showing a natural appearance, and there is no trace of artificial intervention. This is a natural paradise, and then Xian went through an underground tunnel to reach a world like New World, which is simply a paradise of ancient species. Discover the lost place, the Jurassic Garden on the turtle's back. Forests, lakes, grasslands. Xian's vision is covered by ancient trees. He raised his head high and looked at all kinds of dinosaurs, forming a world of dragons in various poses. The huge fascinating dragons, Diplodocus, and Brachiosaurus on land, ichthyosaurs and flying pterosaurs in the water have also undergone a lot of evolution over time. Many herbivorous vertebrates, protosauropods and birds, pan-head dinosaurs and small mammals like reptiles occupied the jungle, and some rushed past Xian's feet, making a cry of fear. Rumble. The large theropods hunted herbivores, while the small theropods, such as Coelosaurus and Ceratognathos, hunted down small prey and also feed on carrion. More than 1,000 species of insects live in forests and near lakes and swamps. In addition to giant cockroaches, dragonflies, and beetles, there are grubs, tree lice, flies and borers. Ancient tree forests consisted of coniferous forests, which protruded from large layered forests composed of tree ferns and palm-shaped cycads. The ground was covered with dense vegetation composed of ferns and horsetails, which was very dense. Xian stared blankly and murmured, "Dinosaur paradise." The purpose of Xian coming to New World? Just to release one's ambition. He had the idea of wanting people with ancient abilities in the entire ship a long time ago, but now it seems that everything is not a dream. Master Xian, come with me. Lelia blew the whistle, calling for a scarab with bean sprouts on its head, riding on the smooth black carapace, and flying towards the distance. Good. Xian retracted his eyes from a group of sea crocodiles and bony fishes with limbs that have evolved into flippers in the shallow sea, as well as plesiosaurs and short dragons, and followed. These ichthyosaurs and sea crocodiles are gradually declining on Dinosaur Island, and I did not expect to see them here. Dong dong dong. Xian's footsteps sounded in the forest. Archaeopteryx flees in horror. Many small and medium-sized theropod dinosaurs also shunned them and looked at this strange human curiously. Ah! Lelia let out a cry of astonishment. Xian rushed over to take a look, and saw that she pointed to a place with many small human altars and said loudly, "It was stolen." What? Xian looked down at the empty places around him, squinted and said, "Aren't you lying to me? There is nothing here." No. Lelia jumped up angrily. Like a little spirit, I collected 4 strange fruits in total. Dare to eat, so it must have been stolen. 4. Is that so many? Xian squatted down and began to check the surrounding traces, and gradually saw the footprints of a human. Are you sure I am the only human on this island? No, there is another weirdo. Whack. He claims to be the captain of the Ward Pirates. He seems to be called Burndy World. Lelia gritted her teeth and said, I kindly saved him who fell into the sea, but he didn't expect that guy would think kidnap me. Kidnapping you? Yeah, at first he invited me to be a pirate on his boat, but I refused, just like a different person, showing a fierce look. He hasn't gone far yet. Xian caught the fluid in the air and locked the direction where Burndy World disappeared. He seemed to pack these demons away. Let's catch up. Wait, he may not be alone, I need my companions to catch him together. Speaking of Xian, he took out a phone worm from his body. The phone worm exists like a mobile phone, and it is well protected by carrying it with him. Hina. On the giant Tyrannosaurus, Hina and her group, who were afraid of the giant tortoise, hurriedly took out the phone bug and put it in their ears. It's the captain. Don't make any noise, listen to me. Xian interrupted their joy, and then issued an order, search for nearby ships. If there is a ship called Ward Pirates and stop them, those guys stole 4 devil fruits from me. Be careful. Ward Pirates, understand. Carol, work, give it to me. At the same time, Xian took Lelia and began to track the trail of Burndy World, through the jungle, swamp and lake, and arrived near the shallow sea. In the blue water, he saw a small boat, a strong man wearing a horned helmet. Something is being cut down on the side to build something. Burndy World's eyes condensed, and he looked at the side of the tree behind. Where is there a tall figure, glowing under the shining of the sun, with a small human being standing on the burly shoulders, looking sharply here at this time? Burndy World, Momo Fruit Ability, Bounty 200 million Berry. Xian gave out the information of this man, and suddenly the young man with the luxuriant beard showed a vigilant look. 0. Who are you? Burndy World instantly picked up a sharp stone and looked here. The captain of the Xian Pirates. The rookie pirate with a reward of 300 million. Burndy World seems to have stayed on this island for a long time, and I don't even know that Xian has risen to 900 million Berry in the outside world. If he had known it, he would push the boat and escape without hesitation now. At his speed, Xian might not be able to catch up. But now, it seems that in his eyes, 200 million to 300 million, the odds of winning are still very high. Give me devil fruit, you took something you shouldn't have. Xian stared at the young man in front of him. Burndy World is a Momo increase, more meaning capable person, with the ability to change the size and speed of an object, and can even magnify a cannonball by 100 times, and then increase it by 100 times speed can destroy an island. In the original book, Burndy World was frozen for 30 years in the 6th layer of Impel Down, Eternal Hell, when he was 78 years old. And now in the state of youth, armament hockey is also very extraordinary, already able to cover the whole body. In any case, Burndy World is confident of his own strength, not to mention, he doesn't think he will lose to the guy in front of him. What if I don't give it? Burndy World held the devil fruit package and sneered. Why, do you want to snatch them? Snatch them from the captain of the Ward Pirate Group. Let's make a deal, Xian said suddenly. Oh, how much money do you plan to buy? These are all good things from ancient times. How about using it for your life? Asshole, go to hell. Burndy World suddenly threw out the sharp stone knife in his hand, which became huge 30 times in midair, and the speed increased 30 times, and instantly rushed over with thousands of tons of mass. Ah, I'm going to die. Get out of here. Lilia's horrified expression was extremely exaggerated, and her eyes were about to protrude. At this time, she watched the huge rocks fly in and closed her eyes in fright. I can't help myself. Xian's right fist covered a layer of black dragon scales and armament hockey, shattered the boulder with a bang, and looked up at the pirate captain dressed in a Nordic Viking style. Hockey. It's a bit level. Burndy World threw away the other stones in his hand, and said coldly, it's finally not boring on a desert island, and I'm tired of killing some dinosaurs all day. Oh, it's you. Lilia looked forward in horror as if she had solved the case. Momo 50 times faster. Burndy World, which was originally fast, broke out 50 times its own movement speed at this moment, which was 25 times faster than the shave in the 6 styles, and instantly surpassed the wind and came straight to Xian. Xian's observation hockey was covered in an instant. In his vision, Burndy World was accelerated by 50 times, but it was still very slow. Of course, there was not much time for Xian to think. I saw that Xian's arm was pushed against the shoulder by Burndy World close behind. Although Xian could see his movements clearly, his body reaction was not as fast as Burndy World, which was 50 times faster, so he was thrown over the shoulder. The posture suddenly exerted force and threw it forward. Stroke. Suddenly the style of painting changed, and after observation hockey disappeared, Xian simply tightened his right arm and directly locked Burndy in his throat. What are you doing? Xian also had a look of suspicion. What happened to this guy? Why he died suddenly? Drink. Ah, ha. Burndy's eyes are full of bloodshot eyes. No matter how hard he tries, Xian who strangles his neck behind him is still immobile and stable as a mountain. Burndy originally planned to stun Xian with a shoulder fall, but Xian didn't expect him to be so stupid. He took the initiative to run into his attack range. Although Xian's movement speed is not as fast as his 50 times speed, he attacks. The speed is still okay. Let go and give another chance. Ah, Xian was amused. Is this guy here to be funny? Momo 100 times elbow. Explosive scale defense, thorns rebound. With a click, the sound of a broken elbow sounded, Burndy World screamed in pain, and the neck was firmly pinched by a big hand. Give it to me, Xian said to Burndy World. Don't think about it, take it away. Then you go to die. Xian exerted his fingers, and Burndy World's neck bones began to shatter. Even if this guy armament hockey possessed his body, he couldn't bear this kind of grip. He seems a little pitiful. Lilia looked at the immovable Burndy World at this time. She did not expect Xian's strength to be so powerful that this overbearing weird person would not have the ability to resist. Kill me, you don't even want to get it. Momo's 100x speed devil fruit cannon. He was laughing wildly. Burndy World was vomiting blood at this time, and before he died, he threw the package in his hand into the air. In an instant, the 4 devil fruits quickly flew to the distant sea. Xian's pupils shrank and he threw them down. The body of Burndy World suddenly rushed up. But even though he grabbed 2 devil fruits as fast as he could, 2 of them fell out. The speed was so fast that it was too late to retrieve them. You should have killed him if you knew it. Xian looked at the 2 devil fruits that disappeared in the distance, looking at them distressedly. They must be recovered as soon as possible. Subsequently, he looked at the attributes of the 2 devil fruits he had snatched from his hand, both of which were relatively powerful. Dragon fruit ancient species Titan dragon form. The rock-colored devil fruit has a large O5 head, which seems to contain some kind of huge energy. Dragon fruit ancient species southern giant beast dragon form. The pure black devil fruit has pineapple-like scales on the outside, resembling some terrible carnivorous form. The remaining 2. One is a cyan whirlwind pattern, and the other is a blood-red fluid pattern, both of which seem to be very good abilities. It's just that Xian was thrown out before checking their properties for the first time, but fortunately, they were tagged with a smell, and they would be found sooner or later. The sea. The giant Tyrannosaurus was chasing a pirate ship, on which was the flag of the Ward Pirates. Hey, stop it for me! Carol yelled. Shooting. Bin Jack, the deputy captain of the Ward Pirates group, immediately ordered that he was the think tank in the group. He possessed all kinds of phone bugs. He soon learned about the death of his younger brother Berndi World, and brought him with him. The crew of the thieves searched nearby and finally found this mobile island. But, unexpectedly, he encountered another group of pirates in this place, so a chase battle started. Dare to attack us. Carol was wearing a breathing valve at this time, and before other people could react, he jumped directly, fell into the sea like a shark, and swam toward the other pirate group at a very fast speed. Hey, Carol, you are a navigator. The only navigator in the entire ship actually went heads up against the enemy ship. Hina naturally couldn't sit still. The wings of a big red dragon stretched out from behind. Yan leapt quickly. Report to the deputy captain. The enemy has a man and a fish, and is approaching under the ship. Leave it to you, Sebastian. Clear. A member of the Ward pirate group, the fish giant of the scorpionfish, a hybrid of murloc and giant, served as the guard of the pirate ship. At this time, holding a huge meteor hammer in each hand, he jumped into the sea with a thump. The strong body seemed to fear no one, and went straight to Carol's direction to attack, and the two sides encountered in the sea. Don't be too arrogant, human. Hina, who flew over, was transformed into a half-dragon and half-human female posture. She held the Dragon Slayer spear Cadmus tightly in her right hand, and stabbed below mercilessly. This Xian weapon seems to have become her exclusive. Three-dimensional defense. A man with a square and double ponytail stood up, transformed the object in his hand into a square shape, and began to move to resist in front of him. Gairam, drink my new Chinese medicine decoction. Okay, Nakan. Gairam is a member of the Ward Pirates, engineer and combatant, and capable of cubic fruit. The woman who provided him with supplies was named Nakan. The female ship doctor of the Ward Pirates group used her own TCM boxing technique and had many techniques named after drugs. You can even become younger through drugs. In the original book, she was 80 years old, but she looked like a 20-year-old person, and was later petrified by Boa Hancock with Marrow Mellow. Tyrannosaurus piercing. Hina is like a warrior Valkyrie, flapping the devil's dragon wings in the high air, turning into a crimson shadow, speeding up instantly like a Xian's dragon wing raid, and coming to the ship of the Ward Pirates. Cube fruit rotation cube filling. Traditional Chinese medicine boxing, secret medicine, hell of lung vegetables. Under the combined moves of the Ward Pirates, Hina did not have the advantage. After all, the opponent is also demon fruit power. As a tentative attack, if you can block her first move, you can almost see the strength of the opponent. NS. But so, Nakan smiled and looked at the top of her head, then took a breath and kicked out, Chinese medicine poison mist. Cordyceps pound. Imperial. Hina suddenly used an unusual force. A dark source of evil rose behind her, like a ghost of a devil, and a huge sickle seemed to have been slashed on Nakan's head at that moment. The enemy fell into a huge panic. Click. A soul chain strangled the woman's neck, and she began to suffocate and struggle, but it was visible to the naked eye that a woman's soul was pulled out of the body, and then swallowed by a huge red dragon phantom, and Hina's a hint of luster also appeared on the body. Number of souls +1. Puff. The soulless woman knelt on the ground, her eyes hollowed out, she couldn't see what was going on. Imperial, plundering, demon skills. A kind of ability that can forcibly plunder the soul from the enemy. People who are not determined will fall into great fear and instantly lose their resistance. The big red dragon is a dragon of hell that inhabits the lake of sulfur and fire. Its race classification is demon and dragon, these two fusion creatures, which belong to the eudemon species. Nakan. The cubic fruit ability person looked at the suddenly fallen companion in horror, and couldn't help but back up at this time. At the same time, boom, a loud noise broke out in the sea, and a terrifying giant mouth suddenly jumped out of the sea from below, biting a murloc giant in its mouth, screaming in fear. Then the sea appeared blood red, and the murloc disappeared. It's gone. Carol. Hina hurriedly took out the spare sedative and threw it into the cortex near the megalodon teeth in the midair. Then she quickly calmed down, lying in the sea at this time, sleeping peacefully. Fine. Tiss watched the battle between the two crew members, and when she saw Carol return to normal, she breathed a sigh of relief. Deputy Captain, come on, kill them. Hina heard the cheering of her teammates, and immediately squeezed her white palms. The dragon girl shining with golden light possessed wisdom and the power of God of War. Her brilliance had a profound impact on everyone at this time, and she was now moving forward. An onslaught was launched. The dragon god will. Wonglong 36 combos. The cyan-colored armament hockey fused with golden electric light made Hina not look like a dragon which revealing evil and evil, but like a Valkyrie. As the same sentence said, power is not divided between good and evil, it depends on the individual. Condensed the golden hockey onto the weapon, and then swung the dragon spear Cadmus, a large amount of golden lightning spread in the void. At that moment, I don't know how many piercing attacks penetrated the deck of the ward pirate ship, and it was terrible. The hull shattered and shattered under the action of the thief, the pirate screamed and fell into the sea, waiting for them as endless fear in the deep sea. The soul draws, gathers the whirlpool. All dead enemies will leave behind a group of souls, which will gradually disappear after 7 days, and during this period of time, it can be absorbed by souls with fruit abilities. At the same time, Hina also seemed to feel Devil Fruit's reminder in her mind that she needed to choose a genre for herself. There are 3 major schools in the form of the Devil Fruit, the Beast species, and the Big Red Dragon. Demons. Master fears Grandmaster, arrogant queen, biased towards the witch genre, mixed injuries. Unlock skills. The Weak Retreat, the Dark Grasps, the Ever-Changing, the Fear and Shudder, the Frozen Star, the Frost Guy Song. Big Move. Satan Incarnate Transform. Draining Soul System. Master Soul Grandmaster, jealous of the queen, prefers the genre of imperious magic. Unlock skills. Soul Swallowing, Ruthless Pursuit, Soul Extraction, Soul Killing, Shinigami Scythe, Death Divination. Big Move. The End of Death, i.e. Death. Pure Dragon System. Master Dragon God will, Queen of Wrath, biased towards the Red Dragon School, Physics. Unlocking skills. The Might of the Dragon, the Frightening of all things, the Evil Dragon of Anger, the Incarnation of Disaster, the Liberation of Magic, the Burning of Hell. Big Move. Doomsday Judgment Last Light Damage. According to Devil Fruit's development proficiency, subsequent forms will be slowly unlocked. Only when Devil Fruit awakens can you learn all the genre skills. And Xena is used to physical attacks, all she took is the Red Dragon root, the secondary point of drawing the soul. The Devil Flow has not learned much for the time being. Looked up. Stepping on the floating block is a beautiful and immature girl with long waist-length red hair. I said, fellows of the ward pirates. The deputy captain Ben Jack was lying on the board at this time, looking at the dragon girl high above in horror. He seemed to feel the dragon's power. His body became stiff, and he subconsciously wanted to run, but here is Wang Yang Dahai and there is nowhere to escape. My brother said. The girl stared at the pirate, showing her cute teeth. Your Captain Burndy world is dead, because he stole something that shouldn't be stolen, so we need to punish you pirate remnants. The deputy captain Ben Jack yelled in grief and drew a musket from behind and fired at high altitude. Stubborn. The girl raised her figure and opened her arms. There was a whirlpool of air gathering in front of her, and a hint of coldness filled her big bright eyes. Let's burn them all. Boom. The crimson lightning dragon's breath instantly destroyed the sea below, and a huge explosion occurred around, as if everything had evaporated. After seeing no one survived, Hina flapped the unskilled dragon's wings and moved towards the huge flying aboard the Tyrannosaurus. Mission completed. Thank you, Deputy Captain. Captain Shien just sent a message that he wants us to pick him up on the southwestern shore of Mandala Island. Then go. On the back of the giant tortoise, Mandala Island. Are you leaving now, Brother Shien? Lilia looked at Shien reluctantly, and the eldest brother she had just recognized left, looking a little disappointed. Good luck, Lilia, goodbye-bye, Shien said, seeing the giant Tyrannosaurus, and the cute crew members who were familiar soon approached. Wow, Brother Shien. Captain. The 2 loli who swooped around held Shien's neck and almost knocked Lilia on the side of his shoulder. Huh, what is this, such a cute mouse? Hina approached, sniffed the Dongtata girl on Shien's shoulders, and she immediately slobbered. It smells like nectar, it looks delicious. No, the 3-meter-4-4 Hina and the 3-meter-3-3 Carloer are indeed a bit huge for humans, especially the little human race. But in the eyes of Shien, they are all the same petite, with little difference. She's Lilia, the native here. Hey, brother, you are so rude, I am not a native. I am from the kingdom of Dantata. I am under the forest in Grimbit Island, near Dressrosa Island. I was attacked by the Don Quixote family. After being difficult, he survived after being swallowed by Grandpa Turtle. Grimbit, the kingdom of fairies. Ty's eyes lit up, and she seemed to have seen it in the fairy tale book of the Fish-Men Island, the legendary villain. The little human race had a grievance with the Don Quixote family as early as 900 years ago. Although the little human race is short in size, it moves at several times faster than humans, and has a disproportionate amount of power that is several times higher than that of humans. Wow, you guy, is the legendary mermaid. Both sides showed stunned expressions, as if it was a rare race meeting. Both seemed incredible. Captain, this guy is so funny, take her away and use it as emergency food. Emergency food. Lilia's eyes widened, and she backed away in horror. What do you think, Lilia, are you going to go to sea with us? I feel pretty good to be a mascot or something. Don't underestimate me, I'm not weak. Lilia, who lives alone in the virgin forest, naturally has extraordinary survival experience, and she also has a squirrel-like tail, which is cute and fluffy. It's really not weak, it's just too small. Xian nodded, not denying the strength of the parasitic fruit. If you accidentally eat it, you might be controlled for a period of time until the cells evolve immune antibodies. I'm not young, I'm 25 years old. I said height. Ah, this. Lilia looked at her 22 centimeters height, then looked at the figure of a few meters from the others, and she was speechless. Really can, Lilia said with some confidence. No problem, there are so many rooms on the giant Tyrannosaurus. You just need to be a mascot and lie down every day. Of course, at critical moments, you can do it. But, I am Demon Fruit Power, a member cursed by the sea. Coincidentally, so am I. Me too. I don't seem to be. It's like someone doesn't have a devil fruit yet. Xian took out the 2 ancient dragon fruits and said, Carol, Tis, would you like to have a bite? Do not want. You can't swim if you eat it. This is a nightmare for megalodons, so Carol won't eat if he died. My word, forget it. Tis smiled slightly and said, even if I eat it, it won't work, let alone I am a personal fish. But it can greatly increase your combat effectiveness. Okay. Tis raised her hand without even thinking about it. During this period of time, she deeply realized that her strength could not keep up with this fleet. Even for better shipbuilding, she needed more power, otherwise she would not even be able to lift the ship. Other man-made boats are just a little bit of splicing. Only Tis believes that a boatman who can't even lift a boat is not a good boatman. Then you choose. Xian has a devil fruit in each of his left and right hands, rock-colored and blood-red. The one on the left is the Titan dragon, a powerful vegetarian. The one on the right is the Giganotosaurus, a carnivorous predator comparable to Tyrannosaurus. What is Giganotosaurus? Hina tilted her head and seemed to have heard of this species for the first time. You are a Tyrannosaurus at the end of the Cretaceous period. Giganotosaurus is your predecessor in the middle. And it is different from the area where you live, so it is normal if you have not heard of this name. After all, in this world the islands are scattered, and it is inevitable that there will be some rare dinosaurs living in different areas. Quote. Hearing Xian's explanation, Hina had a look on her face. No wonder there was no creature comparable to their Tyrannosaurus clan on Dinosaur Island. It turned out to be extinct. What about the Titan dragon? Tai seems to like this very much. The strength type and herbivorous type are very much in line with her expectations. After all, she doesn't like meat, the only vegetarian in the group. Titansaurus, also called Isosaurus. It was an extinct dinosaur from the Tertiary Cretaceous period. It had an extremely large size. The 7-meter Triceratops was in front of it, and it was not even as big as a foot. Maybe bigger than my black dragon form. Xian looked at the information about the Titan dragon provided by the system. This guy is a behemoth, almost the best of the dragon's data comes from the Ark. Pure power player, so cool. Tis nodded with a stare, indicating that she liked this ability very much. Are you sure it is it? Aha, eat, remember to eat clean, otherwise the strength may not be fully inherited. Quote exclamation mark question mark quote. Hearing what Xian said, Hina's ears stood up in an instant. She was smart and quickly realized that Xian was lying to Tis, because devil fruit just took a bite, and the whole food was almost completely destroyed. You devil, Hina couldn't help but spit out, and was spit out as a devil by the devil, which shows how dark Xian's heart is. Don't waste food, it's sweet, come on, take a bite. Xian smiled and picked up the fruit of the Titan dragon and stuffed it into Tiss's mouth. She was screaming, bitter, spicy, and acrimonious breath poured into her mind. Tiss suddenly shed tears and it was unpalatable. The degree is beyond her imagination. Is it really unpalatable? Xian doesn't think so. He thinks devil fruit may not have a taste. The so-called taste is caused by various neurological illusions caused by the power of the devil pouring into the body. Because it starts from the mouth, it is the first to suffer. It must be the mouth and tongue. Finally, Tiss kept her saliva, turned Byakugan and lay on the ground, obviously unable to stand it. Gudong. Carol watched that Tiss actually fell down, and suddenly became even more afraid of devil fruit. Others too, never want to take a bite again. People can't eat the second devil fruit, or it will explode if they can't stand the strength. But looking at you, no one wants to eat it anymore. Make sure that these gluttons are no longer interested in devil fruit. Xian's purpose is complete, thinking that he is afraid that others will accidentally eat the second one, so he sacrificed devil fruit and used his life to demonstrate. Oh oh oh. Suddenly, Tiss lying on the ground suddenly opened her eyes, and she yelled, "Power! Power is coming up. It's so up, I seem to be exploding. Everyone, get out of the way." As soon as Xian finished speaking, Dice's body began to become huge with a bang. With the loud roar of the dragon trembling the island, a behemoth appeared. Titan's lizard, a monster named after the early god Titan in Greek mythology. At that moment, Xian thought it was Godzilla who appeared. Even with his size, he had to look up to see the neck of the Titan dragon. An overwhelming force spreads in all directions, giving people a visual sense of ultimate oppression. It was shocking. After the smoke and dust passed, the figure of the giant beast appeared in front of everyone. Wow, Tiss, you are so tall. Too fierce. Hina is a Tyrannosaurus Rex. At this time, she instinctively produced an illusion that she did not dare to be an enemy, as if a lion did not dare to hunt a giant elephant. Although she dominated the grassland, she was not the strongest combat power. The Titan dragon Tiss has already been transformed into a behemoth with a body length of 100 meters, a height of 50 meters, and an unknown weight. Under the thick and tough dark brown skin, there are strong muscles and a huge long tail. Of course, this is the appearance of the dragon form. Tiss, try half dragon and half human, this form is the strongest of the capable. The pure dragon form is power-based, and agility is very weak. But half dragon and half human have both strength and agility, and the strongest comprehensiveness. Okay. After Guangwu disappeared, Xian looked dumbfounded at the sight in front of him. The black monster dragon had disappeared. Instead, he leaned on the ruins and looked a little embarrassed. Black female. She has dark skin full of vitality and activity. She is wearing a black gel coat and has ornaments similar to the dorsal fin of a giant dragon. She looks like a queen. If you look closely, the texture of her clothes is similar to the dark skin of a giant beast. The female's blonde hair has also turned dark black, very special, and it looks like it overlaps with the monster queen on the front. It is worth noting that the female tailbone has a strong tail full of strength and resilience, with monster dorsal fins on it. Generally speaking, it is like a Godzilla monster, but also a beauty. This is the most comprehensive state of the half-dragonization. Wu stretched out, and the Black Queen showed off her tall figure and proud curve. At this time, her slender and powerful legs stepped on the ground and walked forward. Too fierce. The figure that is ready to emerge is also very shocking. As the human-shaped monster has gradually opened her beautiful eyes, the breathtaking eye pupils are like pulling people into the sinking quagmire, making people unable to move. Open your eyes. It seems that I can't bully Tiss again. Hina and Loli looked at each other, and seemed to find that their status had begun to decline again, in every sense. Come on, give me a punch. Why does this sound so familiar? Especially Hina, who was in a cold sweat at this time, and his captain was afraid that he was not a masochist, and always let others beat him, and then bounced back. Is this okay? It's just a test of your strength, don't worry, I'm very strong. As soon as these words fell, Xian was flicked by Tiss, who had jumped up, and the terrifying physical impact was knocked out, and he smashed through several giant trees before stopping. Why? Xian felt the powerful impact and seemed to understand something. So he got up and transformed into a dragon form. Tis, attack me with your strongest moves, of course, this time I'm serious. Tis thought for a while and nodded. A move name also appeared in her mind, which seemed to be the initial skill of Devil Fruit. Who took a deep breath and made up her mind. Tis had never felt such a powerful force now, and she was a little nervous. Be careful, I'm coming. Great earthquake wave. Like a tsunami, a terrifying mud wave was set off on the ground where the queen trampled, and an earthquake-like power was created. With the roar and impact of the Titan dragon, the body of the black dragon was not controlled. Wong Li's pushed backwards and glide on the ground for tens of meters. The critical value of explosive power is 200,000 tons. Very good. It is more in line with Xian's psychological expectation. The strength that Tis showed just now is normal. The human form of Xian does not have the advantage of weight, and it is normal to be knocked out. It is better to say that if there is no way to repel him, it is a problem. Xian in the form of a dragon is very outrageous. It is a very powerful force to repel itself, and it is also a Titan dragon that awakens in the early stage. As the most powerful dragon, this power is also reasonable. It seems that the devil fruit you eat is not a fake. Xian smiled and turned into a human form. Tess also returned to the posture of a dragon. Now her image has been changed. Although she can also restore the appearance of an adult fish, she does not have legs and feet, so she is still a dragon. The state is better. Does devil fruit still have fakes? Others couldn't help but vomit. Of course, the man-made devil fruit. It seems that it hasn't been born yet, so it's okay. After that, Xian's voice changed suddenly, almost forgot. There are 2 devil fruits that were killed by that Momo. The fruit-powered person flew out. In order to avoid being preempted by others, we have to act quickly. You quickly pack your things and get back to the boat. Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. Such a powerful thing, you can't let others take it away. Huge Tyrannosaurus, set off. Oh. In 1478, New World. The queen of the anthem under rocks pirate, 22-year-old Charlotte Linlin, with her 10 children, established Toto Land, in a sea area based in New World. It can be seen from the past giant tragedies that this woman is not an ordinary person. The young and beautiful, ruthless Charlotte Linlin is called Big Mom in private. And in the cute Girl's Emperor's Growth Diary, Charlotte Linlin also mentioned that she liked this name very much, and used it as her own name, planning to establish a huge Charlotte family, until the future has not stopped giving birth. As for the father of the child, it doesn't matter at all. What she wants is a big family, a family that only needs blood relations. Men are always outsiders, no, just a tool. Painful screams spread throughout the island, making everyone watch this thrilling scene in horror. Weird. Monster. This guy is a monster. The wind and thunder are rolling, and the dark clouds and lightning are pressing down the city, as if the sky is coming. Lightning turned into her right hand, fire became her left hand, dark clouds stepped on her feet, mountains and rivers were cheering, countless flowers and trees sang, undulating in the turbulent sea, like a magic sound of fae. Oh ha 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 oh ha ha. Fighting together, more and more corpses fell over time. Both the marine and the pirates were red eyes. The sea at the edge of the island was already dyed red, and the pirates' fleet was bombarding the vision frantically at this time. There were gunshots everywhere, and the broken arm in the past was disgusting. At this time Marine was in a terrible crisis, and only a few people were still struggling to support it. And blocking them is a monster-like woman. She is only one person, with a cruel smile on her mouth, pink lipstick, and swinging on the battlefield of artillery fire with the sound of singing, the flames and thunder and lightning follow. Her command, the wind is whistling, the dark clouds are roaring, as if the world is leaning towards her and surrendering to her. Hi. Jun. Well, the monster-like woman looked up to the sky and laughed. Behind her, followed by a group of little ghosts, it was her children. Kata Curry, who was born to leave, looked at the enemies around him with cold eyes. Other elder brothers, sisters and younger siblings also looked at the cruel battlefield around them with enthusiasm. They followed this tall woman instinctively. Behind them, as long as you follow her, no one can hurt them even if the sky is torn apart. Mother. The monster-like woman turned to look, pinched a cannonball without looking back, and suddenly squeezed it. The artillery fire didn't even leave a trace in her palm. What's wrong? Little Parasparrow. Quote. I'm so scared. The cute little boy licking a lollipop was terribly scared at this time. This is a real mother, taking his sons and daughters to the battlefield, which most people have never seen. Jahahaha, you are hungry. What's so scary about this? It's just a group of Marines. After the battle, she sank 3 warships, killing and wounding thousands of people, but she was still unharmed, standing in place like a monster. The shells could not even explode her skin, and in that violent thunder and fire under the bombing, the warship was quickly destroyed. I have to say that this guy is simply not human. From this point, it can be seen that she is worthy of being the top figure on the sea in the future, one of the New World, 4 emperors, known as the Born Destroyer. Boom. The surrounding landscape has been changed. The air is full of the smell of burnt smoke and sulfur, and there is a hint of sweet cake smell. It seems that it's time for the meal. A man named Long Loaf smiled and turned the surrounding land, trees, flowers, and grass into it. The food is distributed to the children and Charlotte Linlin is food. Linlin, get rid of Marine first before eating, otherwise it will affect your mood. Ha 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 ha. The laughter seemed to reverberate in hell. The smile that hadn't solidified on Charlotte Linlin's face became extremely scary. Like a cold and arrogant queen, she shouted, Prometheus. Zeus. Boom. Shocking thunder and fire suddenly fell, burning the remaining Marines to ashes. Whirring whirring. The dark clouds and flames actually made a human-like laugh, and after a while, the corners of their mouths gradually expanded and they laughed wildly. Well, enjoying delicious desserts on the scorched earth, the bloody smell around her face did not affect her enjoyment expression at all, but a group of children were already scared. Mom, something is flying here. Kata Curry, who was only 1 year old, seemed to have extremely keen senses. At this time, he saw a dark shadow flying over in the sky before others even noticed it. Oh, the young and beautiful Charlotte Linlin raised her head, reached out and grabbed the flying thing, and put it in front of her eyes. Dessert. What a weird fruit. She just wanted to bite down. But suddenly, the long bread showed an expression of horror, and hurriedly stopped her. No, 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 no. Linlin, this is devil fruit. Why can't you eat it? Charlotte Linlin's face suddenly became cold, and she seemed very dissatisfied with the loafs daring to stop her from eating. This. You already have the power of devil fruit in your body, you can't eat other devil fruit. Otherwise you will die. I remember I have never eaten such fruit, why do I have the devil fruit ability? Charlotte Linlin stared at the long loaf at this time, looking like a demon. Are you hiding something from me, long loaf? No, of course not. The long bread was cold and sweaty at this time, and hurriedly laughed. Some people don't remember what they have eaten, just like Linlin, you must have eaten this kind of fruit when you were very young, but you forgot. So this is Charlotte Linlin laughed again. The laughter was very characteristic, and no one dared to rebel against her. In fact, on Charlotte Linlin's birthday when she was a child, she was ate by her friends, including the nuns, who had schizophrenia. After eating the nun, he also gained the power of a nun. At this time, Linlin met the most important person in her life, the down-and-out pirate chef, the long bread. Her first child was probably a long loaf. She should have been 18 years old at the time. Under the instigation of the chef, Linlin, who was not deeply involved in the world, was taken astray. He began to use his abilities indiscriminately to conquer and bully and intimidate others. Gradually, he became a brutal pirate and became famous in the sea. But Charlotte Linlin's original dream was to build a country where everyone is equal, so that everyone can live a happy life. Because of the happy experience of the Lamb's House, the Ants Pirate Group is basically a group with family at the core. I have been fantasizing about the scene of happily staying with her so-called family, so the Ant Pirates has one of its biggest goals, the nations. In order to achieve this goal, Charlotte Linlin also joined the biggest force of the Grand Line, Rock's Pirate. There is a saying that it is good time is to kill pigs. Who has not been young and beautiful? Those old women with folds and wrinkles were all great beauties when they were young. And 22-year-old Charlotte Linlin was also young and beautiful, even though she was already a ruthless queen at this time. But why would a devil fruit fly in the sky? Charlotte Linlin asked. This, I don't know, maybe someone accidentally lost it. The long bread doesn't know how to fudge, but devil fruit is very strange, it will suddenly appear in various places to explain it. The one who lost it will definitely come to look for it, right? It should be. But what if I don't want to return what I find? What are you going to do? Just say I didn't see it, and I won't give it to anyone. If you dare to do it, just twist their heads off. Charlotte Linlin smiled cruelly, then looked at the blood-red devil fruit. What is this ability? It looks like a zone. Oh, I hate zone. If it's Paramesha, the fruit of the dessert series is just fine. Well, as long as we rob enough islands, we will always find the right fruit. For example, today, we found Nuo fruit. Who do you plan to give him? Since the little Kata curry reminded me, then give him this glutinous fruit. I want to eat rice cakes. Have you heard, little Katakuri? Thank you mom quickly. Thanks mom. Kata curry, who had a big, vicious mouth that didn't match his appearance, opened his eyes wide at this time, looking at the waxy fruit, then bit on it, and suddenly vomited out disgustingly. Too ugly. Yes, the little boy Parasparrow said with a face of approval. He has eaten candy fruits and has a deep understanding. An island. Among the bustling crowds, pedestrians in the prosperous island towns are trying hard to sell customers. Many women are bargaining with businessmen for fresh ingredients. Hina and Carol, who are attracted by the aroma of barbecue, are moving towards the juicy barbecue. The string walked, followed by a black queen-like beauty carrying a basket of ingredients. Come here, Tis. All eyes on the square were attracted by this group of people, all staying in place. This woman named Tis has attracted the attention of many people. She is about 17 to 20 years old. Her breathtaking eyes exudes the dazzling light of obsidian, and her lush, shiny black hair is tied into a ponytail. The dark skin reflects a soft light under the sunlight. The most eye-catching place is the cold temperament. Anyone will take a look at it, full of exotic beauty. The tight black gel coat on her body is like skin, which fits her well. As for the partner walking with her is a tall figure. Someone in the square murmured, "The devil dragon Xian." That's right, that person was wearing a black armor with embellishments, and the armor like dragon scales was gorgeous and gorgeous. From the tiny gaps in the full helmet, there is no way to see the facial features inside. The dragon's wings are like a cloak, and the palms under the shoulders fall like sharp claws, which complements the inferior style. A monster offering a bounty of 1.8 billion. Pick up Marine Admiral and severely wound it. The legendary black dragon, devil-like monster. I don't know what his purpose is here. Walking side by side with the Black Queen, the two looked around. The dragon warrior in full armor took the lead. Seeing this, people hurriedly lowered their heads, and then watched the back of a group of people who were far away discussing. In the emotion of vigilance and fear, witnessing the legendary characters, if they have a mobile phone, it is estimated that many people will not be afraid of death and want to take a group photo. Because of this, Xian's group has no fixed base and is rarely seen at ordinary times, so it will be noticed. Even without him, the beauty and temperament of other girls are still very attractive. The direction is right, I just don't know where I went. Xian took out something like a compass. Judging the direction, he remembered that one of the two devil fruit flew here, but he didn't know where it stopped. If he can get close to devil fruit for a certain distance, he can smell the smell. But now it seems that it is either hidden or eaten. Xian thought it over. Even if it is really eaten by someone, if the abilities are good, take him or her to the vicinity of Dinosaur Island, and then kill and reincarnate devil fruit. This is something that belongs to him, and no one can hold it privately. After all, the strong is respected, and everyone has some weird personalities. Charlotte Linlin's eating disorder, Kaido's alcoholism, Xian's obsessive-compulsive disorder and collectorism. Captain, I found your portrait. Why do they say that about you? Lilia, the little human huntress, quickly withdrew from the investigation work, looked at Xian, holding a reward order. The devil dragon Xian. A bounty of 1,800,000,000 berry. A vicious criminal, one of the most dangerous guys in New World, life or death. From the evil dragon to the black dragon, to the magic dragon, the names have changed. Ah, how come there is mine? Hina showed an awakened expression and stared at the reward order. Red Dragon Hina, bounty of 90 million berry. The deputy captain of the Xian pirate group is inseparable from the devil dragon Xian. He does many evils and is extremely dangerous. Only 90 million. How young. Don't think of over 100 million for the first time, and what's so proud of? You 1.8 billion are embarrassed to say us. What? Megalodon shark G. Loli stepped forward to take a look, and soon lowered her head in disappointment. I still don't have my reward order. It seems. Neither do I. Tiss looked at the wanted section with a wry smile. It seems that she and Carol have not yet revealed their identities. Lilia, the little human race, climbed up Xian's shoulders, looked at the reward and tilted her head. Her face changed. It must be the Don Quixote family conspiracy again. It's the Don Quixote family again. Xian finally couldn't help it. He said, I often hear you mention this name along the way, but the Don Quixote family should still be the celestial dragons in Mariajoy now, right? Their family. The youngest person is probably not born yet. No, it must be them. Lilia's eyes were full of disbelief and uneasy anger. The prophecy says that the Don Quixote family will make a comeback. They treat us the Don Quixote tribe as slaves and are forced to use them as coolies underground. Dressrosa became so rich a year ago, and they became celestial dragons. In other words, the gang who attacked you are the other pirates. I don't know. Lilia shook her head. She seemed to like to smear and throw the pot to the Don Quixote family. The pirate is Don Quixote, and the celestial dragons are also Don Quixote. They are all in the same group. All right, Xian has to say that Lilia's prophecy is correct. In the future, someone in the Don Quixote family will really be a pirate. But what he is certain is that the name Don Quixote is definitely deep in the hearts of every little human race. Even after 900 years, this psychological shadow cannot be erased. It is estimated that Lilia mistakenly thought it was the Don Quixote family to take revenge. Think of the pirate who attacked her as a member of the Don Quixote family. In this way, the Don Quixote family is a well-known ghost story to the villains. Boss Xian, you must not let them go. People in the Don Quixote family are very, very bad people. Understood, Xian said casually, and then looked at the rewards section. I don't know the guy Kong, the bounty we gave me is so high. It stands to reason that he should have targeted rocks, but then again, Kong is now over 100 years old. He is an old guy who is close to 60 years old. I didn't expect to do things so resolutely. In Xian's impression, Martial Marine has lived through 100 years of age. Maybe the version he sees is different, but anyway, Kong estimates that he will still be strong in 20 to 30 years and will be replaced. Captain, you have beaten Marine Admiral, he must kill you. Increase the bounty and let more bounty hunters chase the pirates, so as to reduce the pressure on Marine. It's true, no matter how strong people are, they are sometimes harassed by bounty hunters. Even Xian has encountered many bounty hunters who ambush him along the way, including poisoning in the tavern, deliberate chatting and then sneak attack, etc. Some bounty hunters are originally pirates, and they can do everything for money, and it does bring some trouble to Xian. After all, when the bounty is high, there are often people staring at you in secret, even if you don't do it now, but they have been waiting for the opportunity. Moreover, bounty hunters can't kill them, they may be some seas that are hostile to Xian, thief. Captain, what should we do next? Find the missing devil fruit. But the place is so big, now that I have lost clues, it would be unwise to ask one by one. It's stupid, as long as you gather all the people here, and search for it, you will know it immediately. Meaning, can we do bad things? Of course, if you think of yourself as a pirate and want your name on the reward order, it's up to you. Marvelous. But listen, the plan is. After speaking, Xian asked other people to surround the street and began to gather people. At this time, the bustling island town is on the street. Xian let the others disperse, motioned for more people to gather, and then watched the people in the whole street. The warrior in dark armor took a step forward. Hello everyone at Windbell Island. My name is Xian. It would be an honor to call me by my name. Under the blowing of the wind, the man's voice was very clear. But no one responded. People were all looking at this side with fear. Hundreds of people had already gathered, including young and old women, and they dared not resist because of the deterrence of the Xian pirate group. Maybe everyone is very strange to me. No, it is very familiar. The gathered people said in fear. Who has never heard of the devil dragon Xian, the horrible monster who defeated the world's largest swordsman in the legend? But please don't be afraid of me, I won't hurt any of you. The knives are on the neck. Surrounded by so many tall ancient capable people, who is not afraid? It seems that I am quite popular, so I'll just say it. When Xian saw that no one came forward to question him, he made a group of people stand on the street in droves. Hina, who had turned into a giant dragon, blocked the way back, and the other crew members showed their fierce and cute expressions. Surrounded here one after another. I ask you a question. Has anyone here ever found devil fruit? Or, is there any zone fruit capable person, no matter what form, please stand up. Maybe I will consider letting him join my pirate group. In this way, Xian's tall figure stood out from the crowd, appearing extremely oppressive in front of the crowd, and many people were talking about it. But if I don't stand up now, I found out. Kill without mercy. Xian felt that he was underestimated and was a little angry. If the pirate didn't behave brutally, other people wouldn't take it seriously. So when he was going to kill the chicken and curse the monkey, someone made a noise. I'm Zones. A huge bald sweat came out of the crowd, pointing to his wide mouth and coldly sweating, and said, I am a zone platypus form capable person, do you think it's okay? Platypus. Xian looked over and found that the bald-headed man was good at everything, except that his wide mouth was too happy. Too ugly, don't. Before Xian could speak, his crew refused with a look of disgust. How come? The bald and wide-mouthed brawny showed a disappointed expression. Does the current pirate recruiting crew not even look at the combat effectiveness? After being humiliated, he left dejectedly. Upon seeing this, the crowd heated up again. When they learned that Xian was here to recruit the crew, some young people were excited, while the elders looked worried. Grandpa, I also want to be a handsome pirate. Shut up, stinky grandson. What is good about pirates? They are all bad guys. But those sisters are so pretty. They are all fake, beautiful people or black, they are much worse than you think. But Grandpa, you've been peeping at them. I don't talk nonsense, I'm on guard, don't you understand? Although the words of a pair of grandparents are mixed in the crowd, they can still be heard by Xian. It seems that the impression of the pirate is deeply ingrained in the eyes of many people. So he changed his mind. Anyone who provides information on devil fruit can receive 5 million berry from me. Those who voluntarily admit can get 10 million berry. And those who work in the Xian pirate group, trainees 3 million, each after conversion 15 million berry per month. But as long as I am an elite, anyone who has confidence in my own strength can sign up and have a try. Under the heavy money, there must be a reckless man. The original concern is simply a shit in the face of money. Because people living on this island have a per capita monthly salary of only about 20,000 berry. And Xian directly paid out a huge monthly income of 15 million berry, which caused the crowd who was still looking around for a second to boil at this moment. Suddenly many people began to raise their hands, scrambling to start talking. Various information about devil fruit. However, only people with correct information will get the bounty, and the female assistantess also began to filter. And the other side, more and more zone demon fruit power began to approach Xian. There were about 5 or 6 people in front and back, expressing their willingness to become a pirate. After all, the Xian pirate group, also known as the Black Dragon Pirate Group, has a reward of 1.8 billion for its captain. It is also an idol in the minds of many young people and a supernova among the pirates. I am a capable person in the form of insect fruit and wasp. The tall and thin young boy showed his abilities at this time, looking at Xian expectantly. He can become a hymenopterous wasp, and possesses the rare flying ability in devil fruit, but he was complained by the picky crew. You are an insect, I hate insects the most, the buzzing is annoying. Sorry, the tall and thin young boy quickly cried and ran away, while the crew of Xian showed a bad smile. Guru. Several other zone-capable people swallowed their saliva, and then hesitated and said, I am a fish fruit, flying fish form. Fish, you can't get into the water. Waste. Next one. I am a cat fruit lynx form capable person. The guy who instantly turned into a cat man jumped into a broadcast gymnastics exercise to perform his soft movements and resilient body. Stop, don't jump. Xian wanted to say that you are a good show, but considering that you have to pay attention to your words at this time, he said with a serious face, as a man, you are too enchanting. Next. Boom. A burly and strong hunk came over and suddenly transformed into a huge monster in front of Xian. Rhino fruit unicorn rhinoceros form. The muscles are good, the leather armor is also very tough, and he is a strength player. Yes, it is indeed much stronger than the others. Xian finally met a guy who was eye-catching, but unfortunately, he didn't come to recruit the crew at all, but to investigate whether the lost devil fruit was eaten. Then, there was a hint of joy in the eyes of the one-horned rhino, but it quickly froze. No, you are a bit worse. If you are an ancient species of rhinoceros, I might invite you directly. Xian shook his head regretfully. These words seemed to make the rhinoceros brawny in front of him feel stunned, and suddenly became a little annoyed, as if his self-esteem had been insulted. You fool, are you kidding us? The irritable bull temper rushed to his head. When he realized what he was saying, the rhino man regretted it, but the words had already been spoken. At this time, it was too late to apologize. Under the gaze of so many people, he only can bite the bullet and step forward. Are you dissatisfied? Xian's tone and momentum changed, and he looked forward with a mocking expression. Maybe you can become stronger than many ancient species and even eudemons, but relatively speaking, eudemons and the ancient species is to be inherently stronger. I have no reason to place a bet on you to bet that you will become stronger in the future, because it is meaningless and it is not worth it. The wind blew fiercely from Xian, and the wind blew past this group of people. It's just that the wind just happens to blow, but it makes people feel cold, and feel that the wind is full of vicious atmosphere. Say, what are the so-called phantom beast species, what are they grown in ancient times? Even if it is, what about it? I'm not afraid. Although he was ridiculed, the rhino man still did not change his hard-talking attitude. This picture is as if the applicant is arguing with the interviewer about how good his abilities are, but if you don't want it, you have to argue, it shows that you are very good in your mouth. So, what do you want to say? If you're not playing tricks on us, why do you look down on people so much? The phantom beast species and the ancient species are very rare, and there is no one in all. Quote. The rhino man gritted his teeth, as if trying to expose this deception. I advise you to be smarter and less arrogant. Go back and exercise yourself. You are not suitable for being a pirate. Xian didn't say anything, only that devil fruit does not completely represent talent and hard work. But, this sentence can't be regarded as unheard. Rhinoceros dare to be so arrogant, are there few eudemons and ancient species? Even if they are relatively rarer than those with other abilities, so what? We are the Xian pirates. Stupid rhino, do you understand? Hina just took one step. Although there was only one step, her figure looked terrifying, and everyone backed away. There were several hoarse voices around the rhino. This voice represents fear, full of incredible domineering aura. Behind Hina and her, two more women came. One of them was a black-haired sister who was even taller. It was the first time that a rhinoceros felt such a strong aura and tended to feel fear instinctively. Do you know why you are scared? Xian raised his hand and motioned to them not to do it, but to the rhino, as if to other people, recognize your identity. Because you are a rhino, also it's just rhinos. And they are all capable of the phantom beast species and the ancient species. You said that eudemons and ancient species are scarce. I don't deny it, but you should not question the decision of our Xian pirates. Otherwise, stupid, you will pay the price of dying in despair and pain. After hundreds of battles, the rhino man who has won in many fights can also feel the breathless and powerful pressure on the tall and dark-armored warrior sitting at the table and motionless. Yes, sorry, Master Xian, please spare me. The rhino man knelt on the ground with a thud. His cold sweat kept dripping, his expression frightened, and he realized what kind of monster the person in front of him was. Go away, unless it is the behemoth beastmaster of the eudemons. No beast dare to challenge me, the next one. There was a commotion in the crowd. At this time, many people looked at each other and seemed to understand that the Xian pirate group had a very high recruitment threshold. First of all, the 2 points of eudemons and ancient species stumped many people. No one else. Xian tapped his fingers on the desktop, but he was not surprised. After all, it is not easy for an island to have a few ordinary zone abilities. It is impossible that everyone is an eudemons and an ancient species. That, a child emerged from the crowd. At this time, his eyes flickered at Xian. Come here, please. Xian didn't put on airs because the other party was young, but instead let the other party get closer. Are you also a zone-capable person? No, I'm not. The child shook his head, then stared at Xian and said, is it true? Provide clues to devil fruit, is there really a bounty? Dang. Xian dropped a bag of money on the table, as long as the information matches, then you can take it directly. It is true. The child looked at the heavy bag of money in surprise. He had never seen so much money in his life, and said, a week ago, I was sleeping, and suddenly the house was smashed out of a big hole, and a blue fruit appeared in front of me. Here. Xian knew that he had found the right person, and motioned to the crew to let the others retreat, leaving only the child. Yeah, keep talking. It was full of weird patterns and looked like a dazzling green banana in the middle of the night. I hid it for fear of others discovering it, and planned to sell it for a good price. When the child said this, he showed a trace of fear of reproach. Where is it now? It was snatched away. The child said weakly, when I was going to sell it the day before yesterday, I was put a sack on my head and beaten, and everything on my body was snatched away, even that devil fruit. Who robbed it? I don't know. The child shook his head. Xian stared at the child's eyes and suddenly asked, is it a woman? The other party seemed to be puzzled as to how Xian knew that it was a woman. The child said, I don't know who it is, but it's a cruel move. I guess it's the gangsters on this street. They should be here. Hina, block the street. Under Xian's instructions, the latter and the others surrounded the rioting crowd in one breath, while a group of gangsters glared at the kid here, seeming to be angry at betraying them. Stand out. That was the order issued by Xian. At this time, it was aimed at a certain position in the crowd, and his eyes quickly locked on a gangster girl with fear in her eyes. Is that you? Under the sharp sight, the people around quickly retreated, revealing a girl facing fear. Xian's eyes full of killing intent penetrated her through the crowd, and the fear and anxiety that attacked her body made her tremble. Shouted as if driving away the weakness. Not me. If you lie, pull out your teeth. Where is it? Say it. That's not something you can get. Everyone is innocent and guilty. Do you want to dance in pain? After being exposed to the lie, the girl's expression froze and she looked forward in disbelief. I obviously didn't reveal any traces. How did you find out? How many days have you not taken a shower? Don't you know it? I inferred from the smell of this child, and one of them is exactly in line with the time trajectory of the day before yesterday. Tell me where it is. Xian paused and said, his patience reached the limit. I don't. The girl shook her head vigorously, and her fellow gangsters squatted on the ground in fear. After all, in front of them were real desperados, real pirates. Woo, I'm going to be killed. She whispered in her heart. At that moment, the world seemed to fade. In the black and white world, everything moves slowly. In Xian's eyes, a terrifying flying knife strikes from a distance and goes straight to the girl. Chang. The flying blade was grasped by Xian, and the tip of the blade pressed against the girl's neck. Who? Xian glanced away and caught the figure of the man in the trench coat passing by, with the emblem of Rock's pirate on his body. Are you going to continue to hide it? I. The scared girl's eyes showed consternation and anger. She seemed to realize something. At this time, she looked at Xian and asked for help. Help me. Please. They will kill me. Who are they? Say it. One of the 9 captains of Rock's pirate, Captain Akoku's subordinate, Horse Warfare. He bought my devil fruit and said that if I dared to leak it out, I will kill my sister and me. I already said that this is not something you can take, and I can't save you, so let's do it for yourself. With that, despite the girl's cry, Xian stood up expressionlessly, lost in thought. Akoku, Horse War. This particularly familiar name, if nothing else, should be the man nicknamed Poseidon during the Ming Dynasty. He was a very evil big pirate who expanded his sphere of influence by annexing pirates and merchants. Akoku has a scale of more than 50,000 people. The big ship group of Rocks is now the Big Sea Pirates of the Rocks crew, alongside Silver Axe, and the scale of influence is far greater than that of the young Whitebeard. At this time Whitebeard has no ambitions. And how powerful is Akoku? During the war, the Whitebeard pirates dared to attack the naval headquarters. Akoku can now take his hundreds of warships to challenge the naval headquarters. In the ocean of New World, sometimes the world government has to cooperate with pirates, and Akoku is the beneficiary. Whether it is Whitebeard or John or the future Kaido and Bigmom, they can only be regarded as rising stars today. Silver Axe and Akoku are the real right and left hands of rocks. From the north to east of Wano-kuni, the range of nearly 1,000 nautical miles is ruled by him. Therefore, Akoku's influence is far stronger than Shien imagined. Most of the others have joined Rock's pirate, and he cooperated with Rocks. However, the tree attracted the wind. After the fall of Rocks, Akoku's failure was doomed. In terms of combat effectiveness, Whitebeard is still one of the strongest in Rock's pirate, but in addition to being able to fight, Whitebeard is not doing very well in terms of governance and jurisdiction. Akoku is strong in his dominance, and combat effectiveness is still secondary. Only 10 years later, the four horsemen of Rocks are Whitebeard, Linlin, Golden Lion, Kaido. After receiving the information, the Shien pirates returned to the giant Tyrannosaurus. What to do, Captain? As long as you say something, we will kill it. If you want to avoid conflict, you can only give up this devil fruit. Unfortunately, the ancient species are very rare, and it will definitely take time to find them. Don't worry, I'll call Whitebeard. Shien also has acquaintances in Rock's pirate. In the past, he established contacts when working together, especially Whitebeard. Shien is very optimistic about him. Blue blue blue. During the telephone communication, it didn't take long for Shien to hear bang explosions, and the sound of knife and gun fighting, and a strong young voice. I am Edward Newgate. Now I am at war with Marine, I will talk about it later. I am Shien. Oh, the voice on the other side seemed to be taken aback, and said while fighting, I didn't expect you to contact me. What's the matter, the captain of the Shien pirate group? Is there a person named Akoku on your side? Akoku, what's the matter with him? Whitebeard was not breathing at this time, and was talking while talking. On the other side of the phone bug, there was the sound of cracking the air and the screams of Marine. He has a subordinate called Ma Zan who took away what belonged to me. Ma Zan, never heard of it, but Akoku, I know, he is a cruel and cunning man, he is unscrupulous, and rarely vomits what he gets. You may be a little troublesome, he is an important crew member in Rock's eyes. Quote. Whitebeard said in a deep voice. That's it, I understand. Do you mean to fight him? Rocks won't let you go, or I will help you ask, although Akoku and I have nothing to do with each other, but Rocks will still give me some face. If you can, it's the best, but if it doesn't work, then you tell him that the devil fruit belongs to the Shien pirate group. If you eat it, it means you are against me. Whether it is Rocks or the world government, both can't save him. Don't worry, my friend. It's too unwise for you to be an enemy of Rocks now. In his eyes, you are still very immature, and if you do that, we might meet each other, although I think you are a good guy, but it is not allowed in the position. Don't worry, I'm not so dumbfounded, otherwise I won't come to you. Goo la la la, good brother, come and invite me to drink in the future. Why me please? Because you are richer than me. Whitebeard said confidently. Well, that's it for now. After hanging up the phone, Shien looked at the other crew members and said, Akoku will be handled by Whitebeard. If we can't get the result, it will not be too late for us to do it again. Now we are looking for another devil fruit, and there is information that it has appeared. I was near an island made up of deserts, called IWC Torrent, which belongs to the jurisdiction of the big ship group of BIGMOM. She is also a member of Rock's Pirate, but it is easier to approach. Why Rock's Pirate again? Because New World's sphere of influence is basically occupied by him, and it is also the largest pirate group in the eyes of the world government. When can we be so prestigious? Quickly, when the ancient members of our group gather together, it will be the strongest pirate group in the world. I really look forward to that day. In the past 10 years ago, a group of pirates gathered on the pirate island, Hachinosu, for a chance to make a lot of money. Rox D. Zebek was one of them. This group of pirates became a group, and Rox became the leader. After Rox had a group of powerful subordinates and became famous at sea, Rox Pirate became the most powerful pirate group today. At the same time, dominate on the ships of Rox, the maritime hegemon of New World. What's the matter, my confidant, Newgate? An extremely tall and burly man with pitch black hair fluttering like an octopus said. He doesn't even need to look back to know who the person is. At this moment, there is a wild smile on his face. I'm here to talk to you about Akoku. Gia ha ha ha. Did Akoku offend you? You can kill him directly, why are you looking for me? Rox turned his head back with a wild smile at this time. He turned around, revealing his naked upper arm. The knotted muscles were very exaggerated. The white shirt he was wearing seemed to be broken by force, and he was wearing a black plush cloak. As if the devil god is alive. Kaido in the original work also admires this guy especially. It's too much to kill this directly. Whitebeard looked forward in surprise and took a deep breath. Some of the people on this ship are willing to follow Rox because of the charm of Rox's personality. Some are because they use this place as a platform for exercise, which can quickly expand their influence, such as Whitebeard and Golden Lion. It is because of their financial status and in order to obtain huge wealth that they follow Rox, such as Akoku. After all, as the most powerful pirate group, wanting to plunder wealth from others is a breeze. I met the captain of the Shien pirates. Akoku robbed him. I want Akoku to return it to him. Also, why do you want to return? Rox said something that shocked Whitebeard at this time. Let him come to my boat and I personally give him Akoku's head. As long as you have the strength, you can kill whoever you want to kill, even if it's me. Jaya ha 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 ha. This. Whitebeard's eyelids jumped wildly. This guy was crazy. When he was young, Whitebeard was discovered by Rox not long after he went to sea, and adopted him as a godson. But as time went by, Whitebeard kept killing enemies for Rox and was extremely brave, and Rox's ambitions gradually became exposed and expanded. Even on the Rox pirates ship, the killing of companions is constantly happening, and it is even regarded as a default rule. This is a very brutal group. Due to the deterrence of Rox, others dare not do anything. Revolt. Certainly, since everyone on the Rox pirate is a vicious big pirate, everyone is similar in strength and will not deliberately target someone. Although it is common to kill companions, most of them are small characters and are not taken seriously by Rox. Guys. If it is someone who is valued by Rox, then they will definitely not die. However, Rox was actually willing to give up Akoku, a left-handed man who had collected countless wealth for him, for the person named Shien. This shows that in addition to the terrible ambitions of Rox, the means of wooing people is also extremely resolute and decisive. But he also seems to want people to replace Akoku a long time ago, or he thinks Shien is far more profitable than Akoku. Jayahaha, just kidding, Newgate, did I scare you? Seeing Whitebeard's shocked expression, Rox's smile deepened, but it also made Whitebeard's heart more jealous of him. Tell that Shien, Akoku has things in his hands. If he wants to, he can grab it himself. Of course, if he is willing to join Rox's pirate, I can even grab it back for him and become one of us, whatever he wants. The premise is that he has that strength. Today, Rox's bounty is 4.6 billion. Shien's bounty is 1.8 billion, which faintly surpasses Whitebeard. Although the bounty is not everything, Rox is fond of Shien's ability to seriously damage Marine Admiral, which is much better than Akoku. In the face of real power, any amount is an irreparable gap. Rox is a typical madman of the fighting faction. What he wants is an extremely powerful crew, because only with strong enough combat power can he achieve his ambition and purpose of conquering the world. This is Rox's pirate who is supreme in strength, and as Garp said, they are the biggest group of pirates composed of a group of unsteady people, constant internal fighting, and a group of brutal villains. During the conversation between Whitebeard and Rox, the giant Tyrannosaurus sailed into the sea where Bigmom is located. Chapter 91. Boom. The house was completely destroyed, and huge power with terrifying vigor penetrated a street behind the house, forming a huge gully. What a joke. The man walked out of the ruins and looked at the girl ahead with fear. His observation hockey has been concentrated to ultimate, but he still can't capture this person's movements. With observation hockey, he rarely misses, but this girl even managed to break through without hiding. In other words, the opponent's knowledge is superior to him. Such destructive power, intrepid sightings, armed colors, and a capable person. Who are you? Why did you attack me? In front of the man. The red dragon girl, Hina holds the dragon spear, the golden hockey is like lightning. Are you a member of the Akoku pirate group? Forget it, don't pretend, tell me where the guy called the horse war is. The dragon spear Cadmus is not an ordinary weapon. After seeing the blood, it will become even more terrifying, as fierce as a dragon's tooth, when the girl points the tip of the spear at the man's heart. The sharp tip gradually bleeds. That kind of light made him creepy. As a pirate in New World, he must have realized that the girl in front of him is not an ordinary human, and he must also know what the other party's purpose is to find him. He wanted to run, but he couldn't move at all now. The sharp tip seemed to lock himself. No matter what, it was a futile walk. We'll die. That kind of murderous intent is genuine. The girl's eyes didn't have the kind of human emotion he was familiar with, but the cruel killing intent of looking at prey and ants, which is absolutely impossible for humans to pretend. I surrender. The man was kneeling on the ground at this time, in a cold sweat like a paralysis. The horse fights him, is planning to return to Captain Akoku's fleet with the ancient devil fruit, but he should be in the chant of the BIGMOM pirate group now. Participate in the birthday tea party on the number. Very well, you can close your eyes. Hina has also endured the limit. From her gaze, the man saw a trace of indifference, and suddenly realized that he was finished. No, don't. Gah. The man backed away in horror. His dying screams resounded throughout the room, as if he was about to smash the tympanic membrane, and soon afterwards the scream of O5 was gradually burned out and disappeared. Withdrawing the weapon, Hina's figure disappeared like embers, leaving a extinguishing flame in the air. The Akoku pirate group's information is available. Xian, how is the situation on your side? On the other side of the phone worm, near the Sea of All Nations, a group of pirates surrounded him. One of the pirates saw Xian's figure and immediately notified Charlotte Linlin and others on the pirate ship Anthem. I will be in contact with the Anthem soon. There may be a battle. Hina, you go back to the ship and meet other people first, and wait for my news. After speaking, the angle of view is switched to Xian's side. On a small boat, a man was standing on it, adrift. Since it was not a war, Xian did not bring anyone. The giant Tyrannosaurus was parked nearby, and he drove a small boat close to this side by himself. Who is here? I am the captain of the Xian pirates, Xian. You are the Black Dragon Xian. Gradually, on the chocolate deck cream wall paint, and the sweet chant, a beautiful figure gradually emerged. Standing against the light, she couldn't see her expression and features clearly. But the bumpy figure, very tall, 8 meters tall, suddenly compared to other inferior pirate men, quite a queen demeanor. Wearing a large pink pirate hat with a gun across her waist, the beauty cast a curious look at this moment. Immediately afterwards, the chant made contact with the boat. Xian on the deck raised his head to look at the giant ship, and said, I have no intentions. I heard that you are celebrating your birthday today. I am here to give you a birthday present. Gifts. I like sincere men. Come on. It seems very simple. Charlotte Linlin didn't even think about whether this was a trap or not, so she directly let Xian board the ship. Sure enough, as Xian thought, this woman was wild and unruly. Excuse me. With force from the soles of his feet, Xian jumped high, and the original boat shattered and sank into the sea. It seemed that he hadn't planned to leave just like that when he got on the boat. But soon, when Xian landed on the Queen of Anthem, the tall figure instantly attracted the attention of others. The young woman named Charlotte Linlin only came near the tip of his nose and held it with one hand. Holding a triangular cake, holding the baby in one hand, gracefully tilted his legs, sitting on a large chair and looking to this side. Strange guy, I don't remember I invited you. A group of pirates stood beside Charlotte Linlin, and the middle-aged short man Longbread also stared at this side. Near the cake-like round table, there were children. The cute boys and girls with their chubby eyes looked curiously here. They are all members of the future Charlotte family that Xian is more familiar with, Perispero and Kata. Cooley, are all very small. Brother Xian, the man called Horse War, is on the boat of Big Mom. At this time, the phone worm in Xian's hand, who had been talking on the phone, rang the voice of his sister Hinawan. Horse War, do you know each other? Charlotte Linlin raised her eyelids and glanced at the man with long black beard standing beside him. He was 18 feet tall, 2 feet long at the sideburns, his complexion was deep, and his eyes were sharp. Ah, I don't think you know him. Xian retracted his gaze, smiled, and said, before I came here, I told the mermaid for divination. The mermaid said, some people died today, and some people, maybe he is still alive, but already dead. You know, mermaid divination, the technique has always been very accurate. Speaking of which, Xian took out a cake exuding rich sweetness from the prepared package at this time. Ms. Linlin, this is the present I want to give you. This is a special product from the Fishmen Island. It can only be made by a truly skilled dessert chef. It just so happens that there is such a talent on my boat. I specially prepared this top-quality dessert for you. I apologize. Apologize? Why do you want to apologize? Charlotte Linlin looked at the dessert with greedy eyes, drooling from the corners of her lipstick, but she still noticed what Xian said. Because the scene in front of you may make you feel uncomfortable, please forgive me. Xian shifted his gaze to Ma Zan's body, and said, the one who is going to die is you, Ma Zan. The voice was frosty and intimidating. Black Dragon Xian. The long-bearded man roared in anger, his voice rolling like Shen Lei. At this moment, he pulled out a tang knife from his back and reached out to touch the row of flying knives hanging on his waist. I promised. Charlotte Linlin laughed and snatched the delicious dessert from Xian, licked the corner of her mouth and said, this guy, it's up to you. Anyway, he is not mine. Charlotte Linlin. Ma Zan glared at her with bloodshot eyes. Captain Akoku said that he wants to establish a long-term cooperative relationship with you. Are you planning to break the appointment? Charlotte Linlin watched the scene coldly. She said, yes, but does it have anything to do with the killing of your rubbish? He offended Akoku, not me, not to mention that I have no reason to refuse such a delicious dessert. Wearing thick lipstick and light purple eyeshadow, wearing a pirate hat, wearing a large pink dress, with a devilish figure, a big wavy pink curly hair amidst a dazzling light, slender thighs upturned Charlotte Linlin, the figure that appeared at this time was absolutely perfect. Her ruthlessness and indifference are also terrifying. Hey, you have been so provoked, don't you want to take action? Xian reminded. Is there any enmity between you and me? You stole my things and want to quibble. That devil fruit was bought by my subordinates, so why not steal it? Ma Zan's teeth creaked, and an unstoppable anger flashed in his eyes, like an enraged lion. At the same time, Charlotte Linlin, who was enjoying a delicious dessert, suddenly opened her slightly squinted eyes. When she heard the words devil fruit, her expression was a little flustered. She was obviously aware that Xian was the owner of the devil fruit, so she deliberately lightened it. With a cough, he signaled the long bread and the others to keep the stuffing open. Yes, you bought it, and now give it back to me, I won't pursue it. Xian didn't notice the change of Charlotte Linlin's expression at this time, but stared at Ma Zan coldly. What if I say it's not by my side? Ma Zan said without showing any weakness at this time. Furthermore, if you dare to move me, you will be an enemy of Akoku-sama. As a pirate of New World, you should have heard past the prestige of Lord Akoku. Face the pirate chief admiral with hundreds of warships and more than 100,000 navy forces, even if you are a government, you have to weigh 3 points. At this time, seeing Xian's unchanging expression, Charlotte Linlin also hurriedly persuaded, handsome guy, don't go up there. Akoku is not a messy guy. If Akoku is knocked down by you, the whole New World will be lost. Hundreds of thousands of people have been affected. Even if he is the Emperor of New World, he still needs to know what Dragon's Fury is. Xian raised an eyebrow. This is a declaration of war. He didn't want to do this, but if you ask for it, there is no way. Pull Akoku down, he is the Emperor of New World. This behavior is placed in the next few decades, just like a supernova challenging the 4 emperors, but this supernova is particularly fierce. Okay, hockey. I like this man. Charlotte Linlin put on a face of fascination, watching Xian's figure, and her eyes turned into a peach heart shape. Okay, I'll give it. When Ma Zan saw this, he laughed in anger, and motioned to his subordinates to carry the iron box over, return it to you. But you have to remember that now that this enmity is forged, you should not think about canceling it all in the future. Sneer ha 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 ha. Xian strode forward. At the moment when the two were close, Ma Zan wanted to sneak attack his hand and was firmly grasped. The dagger fell on the deck with a clatter. Xian's sneer was not at all. Reduce. Some people will die today. Some people, maybe he is still alive, but already dead. Drink. Ma Zan's forehead burst into blue veins, but the figure burst in the next instant. At such a close distance, Xian was enough to kill everything in seconds. If you don't make a move, it's a lure. Without the slightest stagnation, Xian's hand suddenly waved, and before Ma Zan's right hand swung a knife to cut off, the grasped left arm and the sharp weapon were forcibly pierced into his body, and it was shattered in an instant. The internal organs of horse warfare. Inch-Jin. Terrible explosive power. In a single blow without preparation, the dragon's terrifying explosive power is really insignificant in front of humans. As the swaying corpse was thrown out of the pirate ship, Xian looked away. On top of the iron box. Slap. The moment the lock was crushed and the iron box was opened, the blue light flickered. Dragon fruit ancient species function pterosaur form. Function pterosaurs, also called Shensaurus pterosaurs, are a species of pterodactyls. The name originated from the feathered serpent god Keztec in the Aztec civilization. It lived in the late Cretaceous, about 8,410,000 years before 10,000 years, and is currently the largest known flying dinosaur species. It is also what Xian has chased up to now, and it has to get it even if it is determined to be an enemy of the Akoku pirates at any cost. Crack. Xian closed the iron box. Now that the devil fruit in the form of the wind god pterosaur has been obtained, his purpose is considered complete. There is one left, Xian murmured. There are two in total. I don't know where the other one went. But the intelligence said that someone had seen a blood-red devil fruit drop from the sky nearby. Talking. Xian looked at Charlotte Linlin, trying to see something on her face. But, Xian frowned slightly. He didn't see if Charlotte Linlin was hiding anything, but instead saw a face that was drooling like an idiot. Mary. Charlotte Linlin whispered something in her mouth, and then looked at Xian eagerly. Mary. Marry me, handsome guy. Gone. You are sick. Xian showed a look of disgust. The woman frightened him and took a step back. Which one is this all of a sudden? But at this moment he thought that Charlotte Linlin was a particularly capable person, and the children had all races, and he immediately understood something. I want to create a big family. Marry me, I want to give you a bunch of children. The more serious Charlotte Linlin is still very beautiful, but if she is idiotic, it will look terrifying, just like schizophrenia. Crazy. Crazy. Xian looked horrified. Linlin. Long bread persuaded. Mom looking for stepdad again. The children became excited. The previous few have been tortured to death. The Charlotte children giggled. For them, the concept of father is very vague. Even the long loaf is a headache at this time. Charlotte Linlin is a particularly crazy woman. In her harem values, men who lose their value will be thrown away. In the memory of Kai Feng's father in the original book, the young Charlotte Linlin held the child and looked at him mercilessly. You are no longer worthwhile, let's go. It can be said. Except for the giants and a few foreign races, the future Charlotte family will basically have members of most races, unless they are married to her with cerebral palsy. I will not accompany you, goodbye. After Xian jumped into the air, he didn't even want to stay here for a second, so he ran away. How come? Seeing Xian running away without hesitation, Charlotte Linlin sat down on the ground, crying aggrievedly, and yelled, asshole man, just like that guy in Newgate. The old lady is broken in love again. Oh. She might go to grab a man in normal times. But Xian's super vulgar combat power is something she will never get. Moreover, crossing the pirate's proposal by BIGMOM is the most horrible thing. It is also the first time Xian feels physical fear and chills. Even for a long period of time in the future, Xian dare not and she touched. This day, the sky is clear and the weather is good. Board the giant Tyrannosaurus. During the pool party, Tis turned into a dark-skinned monster queen, and Lilia was also lying backstroke by the slab-sized pool of Xian. There were 5 sun loungers of different sizes in a row, sorted in sequence. At this time, the little guys who play devil fruit as toy balls are very lively. Is this the fruit of the feathered serpent god? It's so green. Little Loli Maiji looked at the huge cyan banana excitedly, observing back and forth. For her, everything in the outside world is special. Be careful not to lose it, Carol. This is a very powerful ability, and it needs someone who can control it to eat it. Hina looked unhappy, and some were dissatisfied that Xian would take such an important thing. Such casual disposal, and it obviously took so much effort to get it. Cut, petty devil. Maiji curled her lips, her face suddenly sank. Their owner should be Lilia, why do you blame me? Lilia has already given it to Xian, and what Xian has is mine. Hina said, robbed it and locked it in a huge metal treasure chest, which belonged to the Xi'an pirates. Treasure house. A female Tyrannosaurus dared to be so arrogant. Little lowly Meiji yelled. The other side. What are you thinking about? Captain. Since eating the fruit of the Titan dragon, Tis has become a black queen. She speaks a little bit differently from the past, more charming, and the time she was sick. It's longer, and it can be changed. I'm thinking, what kind of guy should function pterosaurs be suitable for? Xian's eyes fell into the distant clouds, as if thinking about something. I heard Hina say that when you were looking for a navigator, you asked for a member who can swim, ancient species, combat power and wisdom. Then in your eyes, the wind god pterosaur, that is, wearing which position is the most suitable for Quetzalcoatl? Bomber, Xian said without hesitation. Bomber. The first time I heard of this name, I thought it was a scout or something. Function pterosaurs and toothless pterosaurs are the two strongest pterosaurs. The shape of the toothless pterosaurs is unknown. The Devil Fruit Manual says that the toothless pterosaurs can recover their endurance faster and are better at detecting and fighting for a long time. But function pterosaurs have relatively high explosive power. Like Tyrannosaurus, it is the ultimate hunter of the sky, and is better at diving down from high places to create chaos and destruction. But what do you mean by bomber? And what do you mean by captain? You often call me tank and fortress armored vehicle. It sounds like you are scolding me, it always feels weird. Ah, this, nothing else, just praise you for being extremely capable, strong, and able to carry a lot of cargo. Xian hurriedly went over it, but couldn't let her know what these words meant. After all, the Titan dragon has been used as a giant land fortress, and the function pterosaur has also been used as a large fighter, but who is it most suitable for? I think it's important to fly. You are not a waste. Wait, I understand what you mean. I wanted to say that this is nonsense, but Xian suddenly opened his eyes and showed a smile of enlightenment. It's like swimming creatures are most familiar with the sea. Eeless pterosaurs must find a race that can fly. In the original work, the bearer of the toothless pterosaur form the flame disaster. Jin, the race is unknown, but the black feathered wings are like fallen angels. It is impossible to be a characteristic of the toothless pterosaur, so he may be Sky Island or members of the winged race, or other rare unknown races. A person who can fly has experience and skills, at least not afraid of heights. Quote. Right. Xian looked at the description of the function pterosaur form, and agreed with these words very much. Function pterosaur, fruit skills, level C, A. The power of the wind, updraft, tens of thousands of miles glide, cloud ladder, high-speed dive, storm control, wind remnant clouds, storm flash. Function pterosaur, awakening skills A. S level, function domain, wandering dragon shaking the sky, Vientiane wind dragon formation, infinite wind domain. What is the wind? Ordinary people would definitely think that it was just a natural phenomenon. However, for organisms that rely on wind, wind is an important factor in determining their fate. The direction of the wind contains special power, and different destinies will be born in different winds. The existence born in the westerly wind will enjoy tranquility and peace. The existence born in the south wind will have wealth and friendship. The existence born in the north will be inherently warlike and extraordinary. The existence born in the east wind will last forever. Wind also represents destiny. Even the pirates' boats depend on the wind to move forward, to the wind, to fly in the dream, to go against the wind, and to the sun. If you can fly, then humans can be ruled out. The angels and wings of Sky Island can be considered. Xian opened the world map. World News Season 3. Rare creatures have been updated. Huntable. Legendary creature. Quetzalcoatl. Location. Grand Line Sky Island Cumulus Sea. Hunting details. Lord of the Sky, descendant of the snake god. There is a King Sky Island who claims to be a god, who has been waiting for the opportunity to conquer it. Go to Sky Island to receive the mission. Extra tips. Angel fruit, flying fruit refresh location. Legendary creature. Stomat Baron, Baron of the Stomach, like the Dragon of Lol. Location. Grand Line First Half Boeing Islands. Hunting details. The descendants of Hercules in Greek mythology have always lived on this island, fighting against the terrible man-eating plants that inhabit the forest of temptation deep in the island. Extra tips. Insects, plants, fruit refresh locations. Unknowingly, it has been updated to the third season. In the first season of Xian, Xian was only active near the dinosaur island on the Grand Line, and there were no scary creatures, but the boss encountered when he finally went out to sea was an island eater. Immediately afterwards, in the second season of World Dynamics, Xian hunted the Big Stomach King Naked Fish of Food Island. The material was made into a giant Tyrannosaurus. The expansion of the Fishmen Island was subsequently updated, and the hidden boss was also discovered. The legendary creature, Yuandi-kun King Big Squid Jong. It is a pity that this guy linked up with Cthulhu, he couldn't beat it, and was almost eaten. Now it has been updated to the third season of World News, and there have been a series of information on islands, rare species, and treasure locations that Xian has never released. Quote question mark question mark question mark quote. Marks are everywhere on the map. After all, as the new world where few people set foot, many places here are uncultivated, and the scope of human activities is limited to a few places. There are also many Taoyuan Wonderland or forbidden places of life that the world does not know. The legendary treasure of Raftel lies in the deepest part of this forbidden sea, at the end of the world. Little ones, when we find the remaining devil fruit, we will go to Sky Island. What do you think? No problem, brother. Good captain. It's all up to you. Is there anything delicious about Sky Island? Yes, Sky Island has the White Sea, and you can even swim. Is demon fruit power okay? No, demon fruit power can't soak the whole body in any water, but if you can soak in the water, anyway, you can't drown if you are a mermaid. Cut. Everyone looked disappointed, only Carol was full of interest in the food biology of Sky Island. As soon as Xian sat up, she saw the black phone worm beside her screaming frantically while shaking. Blue blue blue. The phone worm shook his tongue frantically to remind Xian to pick up the phone quickly. It seems that the person calling is very anxious at this time. Hey, this is Xian. Sorry to disturb you at this time, but I need your help. Edward Newgate's voice rang on the other side of the phone worm, sounding anxious. Where are you? Remember the island we met during the raid on the prison island? I am here now. I'm 70 nautical miles away from there. This ship has a speed of 30 knots. It will take more than 2 hours to move forward at full speed. Is it time? No problem. I'll be waiting for you here, thank you. You don't need to thank you, just treat it as a gift from the time you helped me investigate Akoku. Good. Edward Newgate breathed a sigh of relief at this time, hung up the phone, his eyes fell on the golden sunset sea, his eyes looked very anxious. Back to the Xian perspective. Whose phone number? Hina asked, turning her head. Edward Newgate. Isn't he the big guy who asked you to forcefully enter the prison island last time? He seems to be very strong, why? Is he in trouble? I don't know, it's the way it is. He helped us, this time we will help him. The boat turned to the northwest and set off. Learn. Wow. In the sunset, the giant beast warship was driving on the blue sea, and layers of white waves were raised from the tail of the ship, and the ripples spread to the surroundings. 2 hours were quickly dismissed. When Xian arrived at the familiar island, a small boat berthed nearby, looking intently at the height of the island. A tall young figure stood on the cliff, staring at it. Here. Long time no see, Edward Newgate. Xian jumped out of the boat and landed on the ground with a bang, moving his muscles and bones and walking forward. It's nice to see you, my friend, Xian. Whitebeard Edward Newgate also landed from a height at this time. The ground began to crack, and the shocking force overflowed to cushion the landing. Holding the inseparable famous knife Kong Yunchi in his hand, he walked step by step and looked at Xian, who was 1 head taller than him, and said, "Thank you for helping me. Stop talking nonsense, let's get on the boat first." Xian invited Whitebeard on board at this time, and Whitebeard did not have time to hop on the giant Tyrannosaurus. He was instantly attracted by this mighty hockey behemoth warship. It was extremely luxurious, more luxurious than his mobile dick. It looks much more luxurious. It's like this. Withdrawing his enviable gaze, Whitebeard hesitated at this time. The young man had a fairly handsome face and blushed cheeks. He said, "Have I told you that I have a girlfriend?" "No, you never said it." Xian was stunned, and shook his head seriously. Her name is Mise Barkin, 2 years older than me, she is very beautiful, and her eyes are very charming. Stop, I know your girlfriend is very beautiful, just tell me what's the matter. Xian hurriedly interrupted Whitebeard's bragging. Unexpectedly, this honest-looking guy would show off his girlfriend. Okay. Whitebeard nodded and took a deep breath. She was arrested. When Marine was ambushing me, she happened to be nearby and was arrested as an accomplice. What do you mean? Wong Li's, you know, I don't have a few trustworthy guys in Rock's Pirate. I don't want them to know about barking, so I came to you. Let's rob Marine's ship together. I let the subordinates investigate the intelligence. Barkin will be sent to impel down in the great undersea prison, and we will stop them on the road. Yes, but do you have a plan? No, but I know that there is a Marine named Zephyr who is the commander of this operation. Let's take him and use him to exchange hostages. It must be fine. Okay, then go to the Marine named Zephyr and tie him together. He should be near base number 5 of the New World Marine Division now, very close here, so your ship should be able to get to Lee soon. Don't worry, your girlfriend will be safe and sound. Tis, inform Carol, and plan to attack the Marine branch at night. I know the captain. Seeing that all his subordinates are taking action, Xian looked at Edward Newgate and introduced, "This is my sister Hina, that little one is Lelia, Carol the Voyager, and Seaman Tess. We are a zone pirate group that focuses on the elite stream." Great idea. My name is Edward Newgate, the captain of the Mobile. If you don't mind, call me Whitebeard. Whitebeard. Xian looked at him suspiciously, and looked carefully. The image of Edward Newgate seemed to be different from the past. Xian was surprised. Have you grown a beard? Barkin said I had a good-looking beard, so I kept it. The guys on the boat made fun of my beard as white and called me Whitebeard. Hell, la, I don't care much. Edward Newgate grinned at this moment, and the two crescent-like Whitebeards rose up, which indeed seemed a bit internal. Where can that lady of Bajan be able to fascinate you like this, Sacrifice? She is the kind of indescribable beauty. Although she often asks me for money, she scolds me if I don't have money. Sometimes she gets angry and says she wants to break up, but every time she breaks up, she finds me to get back together. I can see that she still loves me. This. Xian took a deep breath. Isn't this a gold worship girl? But seeing the deep love in Whitebeard's eyes, he was embarrassed to say it. Women are like this. When they need you, you are the sky and everything to them. When they are not needed, you are a tool. This can't be regarded as not being heard. Tis, in a black dress, brought 2 glasses of wine over at this time, seemingly intentionally or unconsciously said, "My captain, I can't wash clothes, don't cook food, don't know how to sail, don't read compasses, and even manage money. Keeping the accounts is done by other people. He is an idiot man who knows nothing but fights. Bold, how dare you say that to your captain? Your salary is gone this month." Oh, forgot to say, my captain is also very irritable. He likes to intimidate and bully the crew for fun. Also, it is useless for you to deduct my wages because I am responsible for accounting the financial expenses, huh? You. Xian is going to be furious. Goo la. Whitebeard couldn't help laughing, as if remembering that he often quarreled with his girlfriend. Too shameful. I want to expel her from the ship. Xian calmed down, then looked at Whitebeard, keenly noticed a small square box in his hand. What did you get? This. Edward Newgate smiled shyly and opened the box, revealing a pearl-sized diamond ring. I actually planned to propose to Ba Jin, but she doesn't seem to want to get married so early. I've never dared to say it like this. Married. Think about it carefully. Whitebeard is almost at the age of marriage, but in fact, even if he gets married so early, he won't have children. In the original book, Whitebeard's son is called Edward Wable, 35 years old, and his mother is Miss Barking. In terms of timeline, he will have a child almost 10 years later. In other words, Whitebeard fell in love with Barking 10 years ago, and Barking stayed on Whitebeard's ship for a few years before he could get married. At that time, Whitebeard's 1st Division Captain Marco had already boarded the ship. Later, I don't know why the two broke up. It may have been that Barkin had reunited with Whitebeard many times, and every time Whitebeard refused to hesitate, but after Whitebeard saw the woman thoroughly, he stopped paying attention to any unreasonable requests from her. After all, in Xian's opinion, Whitebeard is a type who loves his girlfriend very much, but he is also a straight man who is too simple and honest. Although he is powerful and known as the strongest man in the world, he is still not an opponent of a smart woman in terms of feelings. Until Whitebeard's death, his money worshipper Ishan was thinking about seizing the inheritance and using her son to complete her ambitions. The woman is really scary, Xian said in his heart. Gradually, the sound of music came from the cabin. It was the sound recorded by the telephone worm phonograph, and the heartwarming melody from the depths of the sea. It's Balians singing. Listening to the beautiful singing of this charming sailor gives people a feeling of dominating the entire sea, as if resonating with the entire sea, and as if there is an endless tenderness, quiet and gentle in my heart. It's my sister's new song. Carol ran out of the cabin excitedly, holding a phone worm phonograph. She said, I received the Shark Express today. My sister missed us very much and wrote you a letter. What is Shark Express? Xian also looked astonished. What, you don't know? Carol gave a smirk. She said, the shark's head is very smart. As long as I spread a pheromone, the sharks around will quickly sense it. Then you can accurately locate them. As long as there is no accident, they can be found no matter which sea area in the world you are in. Sharks not only have a highly developed brain, they can also distinguish their position by the Earth's magnetic field, navigate with the help of electromagnetic fields, and have an internal compass system. It can also store information in the central part of the brain, and can directly send information to the motor nervous system, and maintain all life activities with its sensitive sense of smell. Therefore, the sense of smell is even more important and unpredictable for sharks. It can be said that sharks with magnetic field sensing around are simply born with observation hockey. Learned. Whitebeard also learned about marine biology at this time, and said with a little interest at this time, I will also catch a few sharks and raise them in the future, so I am not afraid of getting lost. Yes, like raising a few great white sharks. Xian nodded. Don't. Carol hurriedly persuaded at this time. The great white shark is born free, and only the sea is qualified to let it gallop. If you catch it, it can't go to the ocean, and it will die of depression. Great white sharks are so instinct that they like to swim long oceans and move forward quickly until they want to turn. You can see the lively character of the shark from Carol. It is the kind of active and unstoppable. When sleeping, he will often turn over and kick things back and forth, and he will definitely be depressed when he is locked up. The kings of the ocean are born free, and only the sea is qualified to let them ride. Sorry, I think too much. They are born to belong to the sea, and only the sea is suitable for them to live. Whitebeard said with emotion, is this the life habits of top predators, yearning for freedom, is it not his wish? Wolves turn their heads, either to avenge or avenge. The great white sharks turn their heads to avenge or avenge. Speaking of which, they are also the offspring of megalodons. Captain Xian, you are so embarrassed. Great white sharks can also turn their heads. They are considered to be the smarter type of sharks. Don't mess with science, at most they are distant relatives, they all belong to the head of sharks. Like cats and tigers, but megalodon and great white sharks are not directly related. Seeing his stupid captain didn't know how to pretend to be Whitebeard's popular science, Carol, the megalodon merman, was about to jump up and down. Just kidding, you are too serious. But your Shark Express is pretty good. Can you mail me things in the future? Of course, no problem. Have you heard, Brother Whitebeard, if you have any good things in the future, just ask the sharks to mail me over. They will mark your scent so we don't need to run back and forth. Hey, it's convenient, but why am I sending you something? Don't worry about this, we are almost there. Get ready to fight and surprise Marine. I can't wait a long time. New World, Marine Branch. The warship is anchored in the harbor. It was late at night, and the storm that plagued the sky gradually dissipated, and the air exuded the unique smell of sea water, which made people feel nervous. After receiving news from an adjutant, Zephyr walked in the direction of the warship. Seeing Miss Mise Barkin, who claimed to be the girlfriend of Edward Newgate, was locked up in Seastone Prison, she had been scolding for a whole day, and now she was tired, and began to complain about Whitebeard's words. Why didn't she come to save her? He didn't dare to come, Zephyr said. Under the light, Zephyr looked up. Miss Barking was sitting on the ground with her hands tied to the chain at this time. Her thick red lips were a little chapped. Her beautiful face was full of anger at this time, and her face was like frost, glaring at this side. He will definitely come, Miss Barking snorted coldly. This is marine territory. No one dared to attack, including the devil dragon Xian. Zephyr sneered. He looked very young with glasses, and his quiet temperament contrasted sharply with the muscles on his body. Hee hee, Mr. Corporal, how old are you this year? After this year, I will be 28 years old. Zephyr watched the Marine soldiers on the shore ready to go and defending the warship shells, not caring about Ms. Barkin's threat. It's great, have you ever been in love? Not yet. Zephyr has no expression on his face, his purple hair is very saucy and flowing, and his resolute face looks quite handsome. At this age, he should be very attractive to the female Marine's attention. If you have ever been in love, you know that if a man loves a woman, he will fall in love with her. Newgate, but he loves me very much. If you know Newgate, you must know that even if I am imprisoned in the seabed in prison, he will also come to rescue me. Zephyr didn't answer, but looked at her calmly. Barking doesn't seem to worry about her safety at all. She trusts Newgate. Although she worships money and likes to rely on men in this era, she still has feelings for Newgate, otherwise she won't stay with him forever. Like the rich, most of the money is used for charity. Don't stay silent. Although you are Marine, it is boring to be cold. Men should have more energy and enthusiasm. Otherwise, how could girls like them? I suggest you close your mouth. When the day breaks, you will already be impelled down. Zephyr said that when he saw a ship from a large prison coming from a distance, after he gave a signal, Marine began to open the cage one after another. Zephyr personally escorted her into the ship of the prison, where Ms. Barkin was vicious. He stared at him, took a step back with a smile, and returned to the shore. Quote, "You fool, Newgate won't let you go. I want to tell him you hurt me. If he dares to come, I will personally send him to prison to see you." Zephyr smiled and waved, then calmed down and watched the ship leaving the Marine branch base. "Sir, is there any news?" Zephyr turned his head slightly and looked at the adjutant on the side, who nodded. The Moby Dick has always been under the jurisdiction of New World Rock's pirate. There is no movement at the moment, but some people say that Whitebeard has not appeared for a long time and may not be on board the Moby Dick. If Whitebeard dares to come, I will personally end his bounty. Zephyr looked ahead, a blazing fire blazed under his eyes. He still remembered the horribly beaten Sengoku who was lying on the Mariajoy hospital bed after being sent to emergency. Garp, the tough guy known as Steel, also had red and swollen eyes, and he sat at the door full of bloodshots and waited for days and nights, until the crane came out and told him that Sengoku had survived with his amazing will and physique, and he finally breathed a sigh of relief. But Sengoku, who was like his brother, was beaten like this, he couldn't bear it. He was angry and wanted to take revenge, but was taught by Garp. Don't be reckless. Don't be impulsive. Don't come up. Seeing Garp's calm expression, Zephyr thought he was indifferent at first, but later learned that Garp was still holding back the urge to kill and suppressed himself, because he knew that now to find the trouble of those big pirates is to die. You must forbear, and before you become strong enough, before you become admiral, never challenge them. Admiral, I am determined. Zephyr clenched his fists at this time, his eyes filled with strong belief. Do you believe it? We Marine will eventually eliminate all evil and defeat Rock's pirate. Seeing the confident expression on Zephyr's face, the surrounding officers and soldiers were slightly stunned, and then nodded firmly. Although Zephyr was a corporal, he was valued by Kong because of his excellent results. Eliminate evil, justice will prevail. Marine just finished shouting the slogan when there was a sudden explosion. Zephyr suddenly turned his head and found that the Marine branch was burning in the fierce fire. He looked up to the sky. The dense shells attacked at once, making a scream like breaking through the air. Enemy attack. In the next second, the harsh alarm bell rang frantically, Zephyr's pupils shrank sharply, his expression became hideous, and he roared, I really dare to come, pirate. In an instant, Zephyr instantly disappeared in place, and rushed to the direction of the gunfire. Where, the black dragon roaring up to the sky, the Whitebeard standing on the heights, the two figures show the image of the fierce pirate to the fullest. The Marine branch base has completely turned into a sea of flames. The most shocking thing in the entire base is the huge black dragon monster. At this time, bathed in Marine's gunfire, the Marines' eyes widened in horror. In their eyes, the pirate ships could be able to take a shot. The sunken invincible large ship gun bombarded the black dragon's skin, which was inferior to fireworks. Is it only that way, Marine? Shien sneered, and the dragon arm swept across, and Marine's watchtower was instantly shattered. These watchtowers used for reconnaissance and sniping were particularly annoying, and Xian demolished their towers when they came up. The strength of Xian revealed that everyone who saw the black dragon for the first time was extremely shocked. This huge, oppressive body, the burly dragon body covered with muscles, this powerful dragon tail, all the shock waves that easily blasted off, landed on the Marine branch base. It was simply a battle royale. The Marines ran in horror. Just when they were helpless, I don't know when, on the flat ground in the distant harbor, a dark shadow suddenly appeared silently. This black shadow is coming, here. Someone soon discovered this dark shadow, but these people did not show any expression such as surprise for the first time, instead they showed a look of stun ran. Because that purple-haired youth is Corporal Zephyr. If they come to a vice admiral or something, they may still show the expression of being saved, but you, a corporal, even if you were assigned to this base by the marshal as a temporary commander, your strength is irreparable. As this figure gets closer, its outline and appearance become clearer and clearer. Near the burning harbor, including Xian, who was destroying the terrain, and Whitebeard, who was killing and searching for targets, both watched at the same time and were surprised by the guy who dared to rush to death. It's them. The cold sweat couldn't stop sliding. Zephyr's back was cold, his heart was terrified, and his brain was blank. Those two guys almost killed the pirate of Sengoku. Unexpectedly, they even jointly attacked such a small branch base. Give me some shame, pirate. The running figure, leaping high at this time, passing from the sky, as if making the surrounding sea of fire become very depressing, his arrival, and when he landed instantly, stood in front of the Marines. The heroic behavior made Xian and Whitebeard look at each other. Who are you? The black dragon stopped destroying, and the sharp giant claws ripped apart the Marine base building, and came to a clearing. They confronted the scattered Marine and Zephyr standing in front of him, two big and one small ultimate. In contrast, people can't help feeling huge pressure. Two great pirates who have offered a reward of 1 billion jointly attacked such a small Marine branch. Don't you have the dignity of a strong man? The dignity of the strong. Is he complimenting us? Sneer ha 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 ha. Goo la 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 la. Xian and Whitebeard, who looked at each other, let out an extremely loud laugh, condescendingly glanced at the Marine who was present, ignoring everyone as nothing, and gazing at the audience. Who has stipulated that the branch base cannot be attacked after a reward of 1 billion? You mean, as big pirates, do we have to grab those wealthy ships? It's ridiculous. Ha, everyone is backing away, including Zephyr. His forehead is also constantly overflowing with cold sweat, facing the horrible existence of Xian. Even if it is him, he can't calm down at this time. Sengoku Garp is a monster that the three of them can't beat together. How can he be an opponent? Seeing the Marines who were present retreating in horror and fleeing, Xian's smile became stronger and more malicious. No one wants to answer my question. At the same time as the sound fell, the entire burning harbor instantly changed from stagnant air and atmosphere, and was covered by endless murderous intent and dragon power, as if the heavens and the earth were changed. Conqueror's haki covered the heavens and the earth, all Marine at the same time. Byakugan thumped and fell to the ground. Follow closely. Xian looked at Zephyr, who was struggling to support and had not fallen, and suddenly smiled more evil. You are the strongest individual among them. This shows that you are the Zephyr, right? Yes, so what? Zephyr glared forward, his body trembling. Whitebeard. Before Zephyr could react, a tall figure behind him put a sack on his head. With a dull blow from the back of the neck, Zephyr instantly lost consciousness and squatted forward. Nailed it. Whitebeard directly put the fainted Zephyr and the sacks on his shoulders, followed Xian, and quickly began to evacuate. At the Marine, almost no one still had a sober will. They only knew that at the last moment, they saw the heroic side of Zephyr, but did not see the picture of Zephyr being stunned and taken away. After that, Zephyr became the hero of these Marines. Board the giant Tyrannosaurus. At this time, a muscular young man with purple hair was tied to the railing in embarrassment. His glasses were broken, his mouth was stuffed, his eyes widened and angry looked at the two tall men who were drinking toast. Ooh. Zephyr struggled, glaring forward, as if to say something. You two beasts, let go of Lousy. When Xian took out the stuff that was stuffed into his mouth, he was scolded for a while, and then continued to stuff him in, and said to Whitebeard, there are some hard bones that need to be tortured slowly, starve him to first. Weeks, and then a few days in the sun, it's almost time to recruit. But we don't have that long. Whitebeard shook his head, thinking it was wrong. Don't worry, Carol is already tracking the breath. As he said, Xian saw Zephyr tied up and still full of energy, and said loudly, "Come here, hang him on the mast." Well, Zephyr's eyes widened, his mouth purring as if cursing. "Cold, scold hard. The more you scold, the harder I will torture you," Xian said, drank another bowl of wine, and mocked, "By the way, has Marine's uniform changed now? I have never seen him in a uniform like this. It looks very inferior." "It hasn't changed. Probably the Marines you've seen are all generals. This guy is too embarrassing. He's just a low-level corporal." Whitebeard also looked at it for a while before recognizing Zephyr's rank, but Zephyr's rank promotion was skipped. It took him just 10 years to be promoted to admiral, so he was a corporal at this time, and maybe a few years later. "It's different." "Did you say he is the Black Arm Zephyr?" "Black Arm? What do you mean?" Whitebeard said. "I heard for the first time that a little corporal has a title. This guy doesn't even understand armament hockey, just an ordinary little marine." "I'm going, so weak." The humiliated Zephyr expression was incredibly hideous and distorted at this time, but he didn't know what was going on, and suddenly tears came from his eyes. He was crying and cursing, as if swearing that he must let the two in front of him in this life. The pirate pays the price. The future of him. After 10 years of tolerance, he eventually became admiral. Black Arm Zephyr, a blockbuster. But for Xian, Zephyr is still too young now. The more he provokes the enemy, the faster he will die. Give him some blood and be honest for a while. What stood in front of Zephyr was a not very sharp knife. A weapon full of rust Madara can easily trigger tetanus, exuding the smell of rust. The more such a knife, the more scary it is. At this moment it almost pierced Zephyr's eyeballs, and when Zephyr was frightened and desperate, Xian suddenly put away the knife. "Listen, it's not that we have no room for negotiation. You only need to tell the ship's route, and I won't hurt you. After all, I'm a strong man, according to your words. I have self-respect, that is to say, I don't kill trash fish." The voice was faint and rippling. The terrible murderous aura immediately disappeared. Seeing this scene, Zephyr knew that he was being played. Sweat soaked his clothes, and he was torn off his mouth at this time, breathing heavily. Whitebeard watched indifferently, drinking silently. Both of them were very tall, standing opposite each other, and their condescending aura brought great pressure to Zephyr. "I, Zephyr, died here today, and I won't bow to you. Asshole Marine, you arrested my girlfriend. I wanted you all to die, but Xian stopped me. It said it would be useless to kill those ordinary Marines, so I let you go." Edward Newgate shouted angrily from the side at this time, making it impossible to associate him with the future Whitebeard in the wartime era. After all, the older a man is, the more attractive he is. When he was young, he lost a bit of majesty and hockey, but a lot of pirates' hostility. Otherwise, what do you think the famous pirates depend on? Of course it was punched out and killed. Impossible. Zephyr didn't seem to believe that this black dragon that wrecked the marine branch would be so benevolent. "He's right, I really don't like to kill trash fish, because it doesn't make sense to do so, you understand. Because Xian's black dragon is huge, it seems that it is basically destroying, but in fact, Xian is just creating chaos and destroying the site. The one who really killed the most people was Whitebeard. The Naginata Kongyun cut the marine in one line. I don't know how many dead souls are under that knife." Quote. Seeing Zephyr's indecisive eyes, the corners of Xian's mouth raised a slight curve. He and Whitebeard were singing the black face and the red face. Zephyr couldn't distinguish the situation at all. Some people, the less talk, the more cruel they are. But I, the more talk, the more kind. Xian smiled and patted Zephyr's face, motioned for him to open his mouth, and poured him a bowl of wine to drink. "Young man, you have a great future. Why can't you figure out how to become a Marine? Maybe it's because of your passion and justice, but you have to consider it clearly. If you die, you can't be resurrected. I know you. What do you care about? Now tell me which route the prison ship is, or if something goes wrong, Whitebeard will kill all of you." I said. But don't hurt them. Finally. Under the torment of Xian, Zephyr bowed his head after all, said the name of the root with empty eyes, and tremblingly said not to hurt them. Xian didn't answer, just smiled. Boom. Immediately afterwards, Zephyr's eyes went dark, he passed out with a punch, and collapsed to the ground. What to do with him? Throw it directly into the sea to see his fate. Xian didn't hesitate, grabbed Zephyr's body and threw it down from the big boat, and fell into the sea with a thud. Whitebeard didn't say anything about it. Instead, it might be even worse. Let's go ahead and stop the ship before Calm Belt. Clear. The giant Tyrannosaurus began to change its course and headed straight towards the Calm Belt, because Marine wanted to enter the first half of the Grand Line from New World. Usually the Calm Belt is mostly, and some of them pass through Mariajoy, but it's just a criminal and it's not worth it. Do it. The other side. Zephyr was not drowned immediately after being thrown into the sea. Although he didn't loosen his body, he held on, relaxed, and floated himself on the surface of the sea, leaning out of his face to try to breathe the air. But as his energy was exhausted, his consciousness became more and more drowsy, his vision became darker and darker, and then he passed out again. When he woke up next time, he found himself in an unfamiliar sea and swam along the current to an island, surviving thanks to his amazing physique. Then Corporal Marine Zephyr started to survive on the island, honing himself, and finally in the 6th month, he was discovered and brought back to Naval Headquarters. Return to the perspective of the giant Tyrannosaurus. Located on the edge of the Calm Belt. The speed of the giant Tyrannosaurus was much greater than that of ordinary warships, and it caught up with the prison ships before the night. At first, when seeing this behemoth chasing by the sea, the Marines on the prison warship intended to resist. But when they heard that Zephyr, the commander of this operation, was arrested and the Marine branch base was destroyed, their fear in their hearts was replaced by an unknown emotion, so they put down their weapons and surrendered on the spot, because they knew that resistance would be mortal. Undoubtedly, this will not only make no sense, but will accelerate the destruction. As a result, the giant Tyrannosaurus smoothly approached the prison ship and hijacked everyone. Let them go. After Xian finished speaking, he saw Whitebeard's girlfriend, the arrogant Miss Bacon in a leopard print dress, walked out of the prison cabin. When she saw her, the surrounding Marines bowed their heads in fear, and she seemed to enjoy the feeling of being feared by others. My dear, you finally came to save me. I have suffered a lot for you. As soon as Miss Barkin came out, she saw Whitebeard's figure, and then ran all the way, telling her how wrong she was and how these Marines abused her. Xian glanced at her, as if she had seen everything through. This woman was all pretended, and Marine treated her as a dangerous prisoner, just under close surveillance, without any substantial harm. Sorry, sweetheart, I'm late. Edward Newgate hurriedly settled down at this time, seeming to want to get angry at Marine. Leave them alone. Honey, I'm fed up with this disgusting place, take me away. Barkin didn't want Whitebeard to retaliate against Marine, she said that revenge is unpopular. Although he is arrogant and ambitious, he is an extremely wealthy person, but he doesn't like to waste time on meaningless people. And Edward Newgate just happened to like her, and the two of them left with a relative smile. Tisk tut. Xian has to admit that this woman named Ba Jin may be very scheming, but she is indeed very beautiful. And the sound is very beautiful, very pleasing to men, no wonder Whitebeard likes this, a typical straight male aesthetic. That woman is so annoying, what should I do if I don't want her to board our boat? Dragon Girl Hina and my Loli are standing beside Xian at this time. They seem to hate such pretentious women, whispering. Tis, what do you think? I think, Captain, you should listen to the opinions of the crew appropriately. Tis thought for a while and put the crew in the center instead of being a pirate friend. At the same time, Miss Barkin also saw the mighty Tyrannosaurus hockey. At this time, her eyes became money symbols, and she made an exaggerated expression and walked towards Xian. Wow, your ship is so cool, Captain Xian. I haven't heard about you from Newgate. Can I visit your most luxurious room here? You must be rich, right? Right, mind if I stay here for a while? Newgate doesn't care. Do not. Xian directly rejected her at this time, making her smile froze on her face. Afterwards, Xian looked at Whitebeard and said, my plan is to leave New World temporarily and go to the first half of the Grand Line to do something. Could you trouble you with something? Help me find a devil fruit, which is an ancient species of zone. The shape was blood red, and the last place it disappeared was the sea area of Big Mom. I suspect that Charlotte Linlin picked it up, but there is no evidence. Please help me pay attention to whether she has recently conducted devil fruit transactions and transfers. No problem, leave it to me. Whitebeard was not as hypocritical as barking, and laughed out loud at this moment, full of pride. Then, goodbye. After Shi-En finished speaking, he let the giant Tyrannosaurus ride the wind and waves and rushed towards the calm belt. The power source of his ship is not only the wind, but the scales of the big stomach kingfish have a seastone-like effect, which will not be detected by the sea kings. Even if they are detected, they are considered to be the same overlord sea kings, won't attack it rashly. Hey, just leave me here. Who is it, Newgate? This Captain Shi-En is too ruthless at all. Miss Barkin stomped angrily, and Whitebeard also looked helpless. Wouldn't it be okay for someone to give herself a warship, and the giant Tyrannosaurus was Shi-En's ship, and he couldn't help it? It's someone else's ship after all. What are you talking about, Newgate? The old lady tells you, if it weren't for seeing no one willing to take care of you, the old lady was pitying you and staying with you, do you think a woman would like you? Don't forget who it was at the beginning, save, you. Shut up. Of course I know that you are very important to me, but please don't make a fuss unreasonably. You, how dare you yell at me? Break up now. Stop it, just a ship now, where can you go now? Woo, what are you doing? You let me go, Newgate. At the same time, Naval Headquarters. Marshal Kong was already mad, and he was so furious that he planned to take the shot himself. No one else could stop him. In the end, it was Admiral who stepped in to calm him down. At first, Sora's original intention was to let Zephyr catch pirates in New World to train himself, but he didn't expect Zephyr to provoke Whitebeard, and he also got himself in. It seems that these things have started recently, and the conflict between the pirates and Marine has become more and more intense. It seems that an inevitable big battle is brewing in the storm and is ready to break out. Ancient species, devil fruit setting is corrected. Although some, ancient species, do not have very outrageous special abilities, the names of the moves can be garish. In the past many years, a group of pirates gathered on the pirate island, Hachinosu, for a chance to make a lot of money. The leader is Rox D. Zebek. Many years have passed since then. From the first half of the Grand Line, and then from the first half of the Grand Line to the New World, Rox and the huge fleet of pirates led by them, their power can almost be described as damaging. When more than half of New World's area was completely occupied by Rox pirates, a new era began. See Circle Calendar 1478. The age of Rox has arrived. However, what everyone unexpectedly is that the next 2 to 30 years under the rule of Rox, which has always been known for its brutality, will turn out to be the most stable and harmonious period of time for New World. All the pirates who endangered the civilians hid in the dark because they were afraid of Rox pirate. This happened under the ruling Rox pirate, who was known for his brutality, and it seemed ironic. At the same time, Marine's base in New World was hit continuously, and the world government began to pay attention to the threat of pirates and began the world conscription. If ambitions cannot be satisfied, then wars and disasters will follow one after another. No one will reject eternal wealth, strength and power. The same is true for Rox. Decades of reign has brought Rox ambitions to the extreme. 24 years are left until the era of the great pirates begins. A few days later, Sea King's Lair, Calm Belt. Looking down on the sea in front of you from a high altitude, you can see magnificent waves and pleasant scenery. From time to time, you can see huge shadows appearing and disappearing under the seabed, either static, or swimming, or protruding out of the water, spitting out bubbles. It didn't take long. In the distance, a behemoth-like warship came, shining with the light of diamonds, and the propellers continued to set off layers of white waves, leaving a long tail mark, driving on this sea with almost no wind. The angle of view is zoomed in. The hull design of this hull with the dragon and pirate flag is quite exquisite, with a majestic and magnificent beauty, but at the same time it also has a light shuttle curve, without the rigidity brought by hardwood materials. The simple and atmospheric shape, compared with the ships of the world, also belongs to the superior. Its huge body looked like a giant dragon from a distance, the silver-black paint gleaming in the sunlight. On the blue sea, it chopped through the waves, like a burly monster, rampaging. The angle of view continued to zoom and landed on the ship, leaping like a falcon, staying on the mast, sliding on the deck, and pirates flashed in front of them. In the comfortable room, Loli, a mermaid, is sleeping, making a screaming dream. The appearance of drooling in her sleep is very cute. In the training room, the pure black queen with amazing charm value secretly delighted in a meowman posture, but when she looked at the soaring number on the scale, she puffed her cheeks and showed an angry expression. Next to her, a girl with crimson hair tilted her head in a daze in front of the mirror, sometimes fiddled with her hair, and sometimes sighed. What's inconsistent with her cute and beautiful appearance is her non-human characteristics of the dragon race. Immediately afterwards, the eagle-like vision quickly passed, flew out of the cabin, lifted into the sky, and arrived at a wide palace-like room. This is a wide and tall room. Even if hundreds of people come here, they won't feel crowded. The ceiling is quite high. The walls are based on black and are decorated with rare gemstones and other decorations. Several gorgeous crystal lamps are made of colorful gems, hung from the ceiling, exuding dreamlike dazzling brilliance. A huge flag with a pattern of different colors was planted on the wall, and as the eagle falcon's line of sight got closer, the image of the black dragon became clearer. A large number of gems are used instead of glass, and gold is used instead of metal. In the room, there are more than a dozen steps. There is a huge banner of the Black Dragon Pirates on the wall behind. This is the most important place of the Xi'an pirate group, the captain's room. The warm sunlight reflected from the window of the giant Tyrannosaurus. In the empty and bright captain's room, Xi'an sat at his desk thinking about something. There are pearls and shells, many different colors of gems and gold and silver jewelry, and some quill pens and white paper with exquisite craftsmanship. Obviously, they are not luxury items that ordinary nobles can have. However, when the eagle falcon looked at him, he was suddenly noticed. Is it fun? I saw the tall man staring over. The eagle falcon froze in an instant, and the flowers above his head fell to the ground. Tweet. Falcon flees in horror, and a cute little person the size of a palm falls into the hand of the black-haired man, revealing her true face. Lilia, you are playful again. Since New World entered the calm belt, there is nothing you can do in these days. The speed of the ship can't rise in the calm belt. It can only run slowly on mechanical power. In most cases, it relies on manpower to maintain its operation, so it seems quite boring. Ah, Captain, I came here because you seem to be very unmotivated. Are you worrying about things again? After being caught, Lilia did not dare to look at Xi'an at this time, posing a cute, well-behaved and weak posture, and did not admit that she fished during work hours. We need more funds to maintain the operation of the pirate group, so I am thinking, is the legendary Golden City on Sky Island real? It is said that the batch of gold exceeds thousands of tons. If all is taken for ourselves, it will be enough for us to splurge for a while. Xi'an lazily raised her arm, resting Lilia in her palm, whispering something, looking expectant. Wow, of course it's true. Lilia jumped excitedly at this time, like a little squirrel. Captain Xi'an and the hero Rolando are so alike. They both have lofty pursuits and heroic spirit, despite their appearance. Ugly handsome is hard to say in a word. Rolando, who is he? Also, am I ugly? Xi'an said unhappily. Lilia seemed to like to take others as examples. No, Captain Xi'an is too big, from the perspective of the villain, some. Like a monster. As Xi'an said, the bones made a crackling sound, and the muscle density began to contract. While keeping his weight in direct proportion to his height, he turned into the image of a black-haired man with a height of 2 meters. How about this? Seeing Lilia's eyes and mouth gradually widened, she was stunned and blinked as if she didn't react. If I want to, I can even degenerate into a baby. But I don't like it, and it's very expensive. Unless it is an evolutionary error, Xi'an will reset his talent skills and return to the original dragon egg state when he has to add more points. Okay, so awesome. Captain Xi'an, you are even better than Rolando. So, who exactly is Rolando? Rolando is the great hero who came to Dressrosa 400 years ago to help us defeat the bad guys. Captain Xi'an wants to know his story. This is a well-known story for every Dongtata tribe. Seeing Lilia's excitement, if Xi'an refuses, she might become sad immediately. The villain is this type that is not very good at covering up his emotions. Therefore, Xi'an had to, reluctantly, listen to who this so-called Rolando is. Well, Tell me, I want to know how good this person is. Aha! So Lilia began to tell the story of Rolando. From Gaia Island to the land of the little man, Lilia described Rolando's adventure vividly. The story happened 400 years ago. See Circle Calendar in 1122, a man named Rolando went to sea. He had chestnut-like hair, a burly figure and a brave heart. During the voyage, he and his crew came to Gaia Island to escape the storm, and occasionally ran into the Shandia clan who was tortured by tree fever. Since Rolando is the admiral and botanist of the expedition of the Lubnir Kingdom, he knows that the cause of the outbreak of this disease is a kind of tree, which happens to be the plant that the Shandia tribe regards as the sacred tree. Then, Rolando saved this group of people, and became a good friend at first sight with the strongest warrior of the family, Kalgora, Zero. But because he was worried that the disease would break out again, he cut down the sacred tree of the Shandia tribe. As a result, he was misunderstood by the Shandia tribe as a sinner who violated traditions and beliefs. This led to the exile of the Shandia tribe. Later, after Kalgula knew the real reason, he regretted not having time to send Rolando farewell and expel him. Not long after that, Rolando has landed in the Lilliputian country, Greenbit, to fight the injustices of the Dongtata people who were being oppressed by humans at the time, and restore the peace of the Dongtata people to their lives. The Dongtata people also remembered Roland. The kindness of Du cast a memorial statue of Roland Du in the community where the people live. See Circle Calendar in 1127, Rolando was ordered by the king to return to Gaia Island in search of gold, but due to the huge rising currents in the nearby sea, part of Gaia Island was thrown into the air 10,000 meters. Rolando couldn't find this place, so he was mistaken for the crime of cheating Kun and executed by the king. This is the story of the great liar, Rolando. Like the future popular comic book villain Germa 66, it is also a well-known fairy tale by North Blue. It would be great if Rolando met the great warrior Kalgora, so that he can prove his innocence. Lilia was in tears at this moment, feeling unfair for the hero's unfair treatment, but Xian didn't think so. No, I think he was fortunate not to meet. As the so-called fairy tales, everyone has different opinions. Xian looks farther, and is completely different from Lilia's simple thoughts. Why? Lilia stared at this side with red eyes. If Rolando and Kalgola really meet, then the king will inevitably make Rolando fight the Shandias in order to fight for gold, and these two close friends will inevitably meet each other and become enemies. And Kalgola, because of this, he doubts Rolando's intentions, and then suspects that his act of cutting down the sacred tree was deliberate, suspecting that he was deceived. This is the worst outcome. Therefore, instead of the two who ended up with regrets, they met instead. It will be worse. There is. Xian suspects that Golden Town is hiding something, such as the historical text. Generally speaking, the historical text is stored in the forbidden area of the clan, and in order to protect the historical text, a large amount of gold will definitely be used to cover it. After the thief robs the gold, there is no time to think deeply about the historical text. In addition, Xian is not interested in history, nor is he interested in the so-called One Piece. It doesn't matter to him who is right or wrong in 100 years of blankness, what great kingdoms have perished, and what alliances have risen. He is like people like Whitebeard, and Xian's goal is not to become One Piece. He just wants a life attitude of being a pirate. How come? But Xian's words seemed to have a huge impact on Lilia's little heart, and she suddenly shattered her yearning for a good ending. At this time, she ran away crying and scolded Xian as a bad person. No one wants to listen to the truth, sad. Seeing Lilia's appearance, Xian also shrugged and expressed helplessness. But this story gave him a clue, that is, Golden Township is real, and it is mentioned in the story that there was a huge snake on Gaia Island 400 years ago, the snake god Cassie, who was killed by the ancient the Shandia people respect like gods. From the current point of view, this snake called the god of Cass is really just an ordinary snake, but it's a bit bigger, but in the eyes of the Shandia people 400 years ago, this snake is the master who lives and died for the entire nation. Gods. But where is the Quetzalcoatl, the legendary creature Quetzalcoatl? I don't know whether it has anything to do with the god of Cassie. If the master can get more information about it, it is undoubtedly very important. After all, any material dropped by a legendary creature after being hunted is extremely precious, and it can be compared to the natural treasures such as the treasure tree atom. Thinking of this, Xian looked at the letter paper beside the table. It was a letter from the Fishmen Island. It was sent by the Shark Express. It was a thick envelope sealed with crustaceans and coral paper. It was written in gilded squiggles. Please Mr. Xian to check it. Mermaid. Siren. Sirens. Balian's letter. Xian hasn't been taken apart and ignored. Until now it hasn't noticed its existence. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.